Rare live alert. Oh, wow, they're not suppressing us this time? Man, we might get some good viewership then. Hopefully that's true for everyone. Drop the workout routine, you have to join the ACP. All American Communist Party members have a full written workout routine for me. Whoa, I just got a Patreon supporter. Woo! Patreon.com/MidwesternMarks, fam. Draw early, yay. Communism is good. Disagree? Congrats, you've been brainwashed. Couldn't agree more, brother. Haas will be on here soon. So for those who don't know, I mean, I should probably wait till some people get in here to explain the whole Hasan Piker situation. I don't want to explain it to 30 people. Let's wait till some others file in, but Quebec, yo, what up? Shout out to Quebec. We've got an ACP chapter in Quebec if you're interested in getting organized and involved. Pile on in here, folks. Where's Haas? He's not here yet. Pile on in. Where should I go to study the truth about the DPRK? The first thing, well, actually, I should promote myself. Go to the YouTube channel, Midwestern Marks, and then hit subscribe. But then go to my playlist, DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. I've done more videos about the more long-form videos explaining how the DPRK actually works, their history. I did like a back and forth with Voosh about it. Vaush, if you know him. Thank you, Ruby, for the rose. I did a back and forth with him, and then did this like 2-hour breakdown on Yeonmi Park, the North Korean defector, and her appearance on Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson's podcast. But then also check out Loyal Citizens of Pyongyang and Seoul, which was produced by the Liberation School, which is an arm of PSL, who I have my disagreements with, but that movie is really good for understanding Korea and the actual history and how the propaganda is produced. But ACP is the future. Hell yeah. All right, now that we've got 100 people in here, I guess I'll explain the beef, the drama. So Hasan Piker, large streamer. Thank you, H, for the superpower. Loosely associated with DSA, you know, I'm sure Hasan's viewers are in other parties besides DSA, and is Hasan a member of DSA or not? Let me know in the comments if he is, so I can give you guys accurate information. As far as I know, he's not directly associated with any party. But, you know, it's pretty obvious that he's a social democrat and a lot of his viewers are in DSA. And every time that he's mentioned the ACP, the American Communist Party, which I'm going to put an ACP hat on while we do this, every time that he's mentioned our party, the ACP, which I'm in the executive board of, it has been something that's not true. The worst one being he claimed that we had a cryptocurrency, which was not true. It was based on a lie that was spread by a Twitter wrecker. And he told his massive audience that we're in fact a crypto scam and then never retracted it. He found out that we're not in fact a crypto scam and didn't feel the need to apologize, even though he's one of the largest streamers in America. And our only goal here is to organize American workers and organize against imperialism, which was sketchy. And then, you know, thank you for the ice cream. And then he made an attack against me over one of my tweets. And I showed unequivocally, this was recently in a video, that what he claimed I said in that tweet is absolutely not what I said. And I get it. You know, he streams 8 hours a day. You make mistakes. So it's whatever. But it's repeated. You know, and that was the third lie. I'm blanking on what the second lie was. But anyways, somebody in the UK, thank you, everybody, for the stickers. Appreciate that. All that money's going to the ACP, baby. Thank you. So recently he was doing that big speaking engagement at Cambridge. And somebody from George Galloway's party asked him why he's attacking the ACP. Thank you for all the stickers. Appreciate you all. And his response was to Fed jacket our comrade Jackson. And to say that, I don't even know what kind of argument he was making. He was arguing that Jackson is a Fed because he went to the Donbass region. um, and supports Russia. Thank you. I don't know if I can even say that. Wow. Appreciate that. You guys are killing it with the gifts today. Well, he went, he said Jackson's a Fed because he went there, did propaganda, or did media stuff about the Donbass region in eastern Ukraine, and then he was allowed to come back to the U.S. freely, which isn't even true. Jackson's been held at the airport multiple times, as uh, you know, many members of our leadership have been. They've had their property seized. They've been searched. Um, so I don't know, but it doesn't even make logical sense. Thank you so much for that. It doesn't even make logical sense. Like, if he's too supportive of Russia, why would he be an American Fed? Russia's the number one enemy of the United States and NATO right now. So the argument's incoherent. And it was interesting to see Hasan be put on the spot and challenged on these things that he said about our party that are untrue. And his response was extremely weak. And, we could make the same argument. He's being platformed by CNN recently and all these large outlets. Now, I would never accuse anyone of being a Fed without hard evidence the way that he's doing to us. But if there's anybody who's, cracked down hard or cracked down upon by the state hard, it's us. And if there's anybody who the state allows to do their thing, because maybe they view it as a compatible version of socialism with the establishment. Thank you for that. It's Hasan Piker. He's made tons and tons of money off of socialism.
Look, I think it's incredibly simple. I think it's incredibly simple, actually. All right. Look, I've been in the space for 4 years. I know how it works. I know how live streaming and being an influencer and I know what you are allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and I know the systemic limitations, okay? Since he got a start on the Purple website, Hasan Piker has faced zero systemic pushback in any form. He has never faced any kind of systemic pushback. He's never been deplatformed. He's never been demonetized. He's never had media hit pieces on him, besides Fox News, which doesn't count. Even that's a glow up because it's boomer nonsense. But all the other mainstream media outlets have done nothing but give him glow ups, and he's faced zero systemic pushback. The narrative and the discourse has never been engineered against him. His reputation has never been under attack by state or intelligence forces. And the only people that have attacked his reputation and made those things go viral are actual, genuine, organic actors who just don't like him because he's a gatekeeper. So how exactly is he going to call Jackson someone being, Jackson's part of the system, Jackson's a Fed? How can he say that when he's faced zero systemic pushback in any form, ever, in any way? Jackson's banned from everywhere except one website whose CEO has made a very public commitment to free speech that he would look really bad going back on. He's banned from PayPal, for Christ's sake. Okay? And look, that's just to talk about the deplatforming. What about demonetization? Hasan has never faced any adversity. He's never faced any systemic pushback. The corporation that he works for loves him. They never go against him. They never do anything, right? How does that work that Jackson's part of the system and Hasan is not? Bro, the icing on the cake is that Hasan Piker said all of this. He said all of this. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready? He said all of this while he was inside Cambridge University. He said this from Cambridge University. Do you think a genuine threat to the system is invited to Cambridge University? Wake up! Real radicals and critics of the system are not allowed to become the top live streamers of Amazon-owned websites without any pushback whatsoever, without any adversity at all thrown their way. Nothing. Wake up. Who is the real dissident and who's the fraud? Hasan is not a real dissident. He has never faced any problems in his career. And take it from me, because I used to be like you and think, oh no, it's organic. Anyone could. No, it's not. If you are a threat to the system, you cannot have a career. Your career's done. Okay? You can't have a career if you're a threat to the system. Unless you do a workaround, like Jackson literally is doing, or luck out by having Elon Musk buy the entire company and make a public commitment to free speech. And there's some fool in the chat talking about LaRouchites. Please commit yourself to a psychiatric hospital, because our only connection to LaRouchites is that we gave speeches at an event hosted by Schiller, an organization that Chinese CGTN is hosting like weekly, and the connection Schiller has with CGTN and Chinese institutions goes way beyond anything we've ever had. So when you're talking about LaRouchites,
and that was before the ACP existed.
Before there's any ACP. And they're talking about LaRouchites for what? And by the way, what was the content of that conference? Talking about being against funding the war in Ukraine? How is that a Fed agenda? You don't even know what you're talking about. Even if you're correct that they worked with the FBI, and what does that have to do with us? What does it have to do with us that LaRouchites have worked with all of those people? I mean, what does that have to do with us? Hasan Piker in 2020 told his audience to vote for Joe Biden, a guy who voted for Jim Crow segregation bills. Is Hasan Piker a Joe Bidenist? Hasan Piker has streamed multiple times with AOC, a woman who voted for Iron Dome funding. So because we gave a speech one time at the Schiller Institute conference where I did what? I defended Hegel, I defended Kojev, I defended the proletariat as the privileged subject of history, all things they disagree on, by the way, the LaRouche followers. Because I did that, and Jackson spoke there too, we're LaRouchites, but Hasan shouldn't be held accountable for streaming with AOC, who literally was in Congress and voted for Iron Dome funding. You are attacking us because it's convenient to, because you don't have the courage to actually stand up to power, because you don't have the courage to go against what's popular and what's trendy, because you're afraid that the mob is going to go against you. You're not speaking on the basis of principle and sincere belief. You're just saying these things because it's convenient. It's convenient for you to say them socially.
Somebody says, I saw one person say, I don't understand the anger. And what happened was Hasan Fed jacketed the American Communist Party when asked about us at Cambridge. And I see somebody else saying, you guys are attacking Hasan for relevancy. It's not that. He's told 4 separate lies about the party now. Every time he's brought us up, he claimed we had a cryptocurrency when we didn't. He made up some tweet that I made, which I didn't actually make. And then now at Cambridge, somebody who's a fan of the ACP, a working class guy who wants to see unity and wants to see real organization and doesn't understand why the largest socialist creator in America is telling lies about us and attacking us. He asked Hasan a question at Cambridge. He said, why are you using your platform to launch attacks at the ACP and George Galloway? And Hasan denied that he was attacking George Galloway. And then he responded to the question about ACP by Fed jacketing Jackson, one of our leaders, who's been, targeted by the state, who's been targeted by Zayos, who's been targeted by the right-wing Venezuelan opposition, who the Maduro government literally had to protect him from because they were physically trying to attack him and get to him. He was detained at the airport multiple times. And that's what we're saying is, how are you going to call us feds to your giant audience when none of these things have happened to you? But these are the repressions that we're actively facing from the state. It doesn't make any sense.
Bro, he's the top political live streamer on the Amazon owned website. And that's organic. That's not that's not there's no like systemic significance of that fact. When is banned, Jackson was demonetized from YouTube for 1 year and then got permabanned. Like, why has nothing ever happened to Hasan? Look, what am I irrational for raising that question? Like, if Hasan was a threat to the system, where are the CNN hit pieces? Where are the people calling him a dangerous? I mean, for Christ's sake, even Bernie Sanders in 2015 was getting hit pieces written about him, saying that he's a sexist and it's Bernie bros. That was Bernie Sanders in 2015, a senator. And like Hasan Piker has never faced anything.
I mean, what
He's
do
never
we?
faced. Listen, am I irrational for asking the question? Why has Hasan Piker never faced any systemic pushback or adversity in any form whatsoever, like at all? No demonetization, no deplatforming, no censorship, no media hit pieces, no narrative discourse attacks against him, no like engineer. The biggest adversity Hasan has ever faced in his career was another streamer named Destiny who created him.
Yeah. I mean, and
No,
I
hold on,
understand.
Eddie. Someone's saying the Purple website likes the money they make off of him. Did YouTube not like the money that Jackson was making for them? Think about it. Did YouTube not like the money Jackson was making? Do you know how much money the Purple website would make if they had other streamers that they've banned and deplatformed? Do you really think it's about the money? That website doesn't even make a profit. And what he is making for them, as much as it is it's nothing compared to Kai Cenat and compared to all these it was nothing compared to these WL streamers. You have no idea what you're talking about. He's the top political streamer. He's not the top streamer. He's the top political streamer. You know, XQC makes more than him, right? Like, what are we even talking about here? He doesn't even make that much in the grand scheme of their operating costs for Amazon and everything. And so it's like, why are they keeping him around? Why are they keeping him around? Oh, we're crying and we're jealous, right? But who mentioned who first? He literally fed jacketed Jackson, and he was like, well, my red line is I'm just asking the question, how is Jackson able to travel to Donbass and not be arrested when he returns to the U.S.? I don't know, Hasan, because he wasn't breaking any laws. Every other method they have to persecute us, when they don't have a legal pretext, they not only have used, but are using. I want to give you guys an example. ACP, type American Communist Party in Google. We're not even allowed to be on the Google results. I think we got our website there, but there's a total blackout. There's a total media blackout. Why did the media cover our Dearborn event, which was so much smaller, but there's nothing on ACP? Compared to how many millions of impressions we got on the algorithm, it's crazy, right? Now let me ask you another thing. Look up American Communist Party on Reddit or on social media and look at what the narrative is about us and what people say about us. Now ask yourself a question. What have we done to deserve this bad reputation? What has our party actually done? If you look at every single chapter that our party has and look at everything they've done, the most controversial thing we've done is feed people Thanksgiving turkeys. The poor people couldn't afford Thanksgiving turkeys. So one of our chapters went to a community service event where cops were present and helping distribute turkeys. and they publicized it, and they issued a cell for criticism and a retraction for it because it was wrong to work to have police have a presence distributing the free turkeys to poor families. That is the most contentious, controversial thing we've ever done, and they even retracted it and issued a self-criticism over it. Okay, which was, and in the grand scheme of things, they were feeding poor families, right? So it's like, where is what has ACP done to deserve the bad reputation that they've tried to create? Well, I don't think they've succeeded in harming our reputation, but there is such a concentrated effort to destroy our reputation. But like, what justifies that? So hold on, let me cook. Stay with me now. If we are so innocent and we've done nothing wrong, and there's a concentrated, systemic, and coordinated effort to strike and destroy our reputation, why has that never happened to Hasan? And yeah, you're right. We're nobodies compared to Hasan. You're right. So that should even make you more critical about it. If we're nobodies compared to Hasan, why are we so under attack and he's not?
We wouldn't be if Haz's Twitch didn't get banned and Jackson's every single social media didn't get banned. And right now, you guys are on my 8th TikTok page, right? The argument about he's making too much money for Twitch. I was making plenty of money for TikTok. They still banned me for taking the wrong positions. And it's always been positions that Hasan is afraid to take. And I understand, there's some overlap in my audience and Hasan's audience. We live in this world of social media and profilicity, and people get an attachment to these personalities like Hasan. But look at this. What do you call him teaming up with Donnie O'Sullivan of CNN, the corporate news network, to do a hit piece against us, the ACP? What do you call that? What do you call it when somebody is being platformed and hosted by the bourgeois media in order to attack a communist party that's in the streets, that's in the communities, bringing people food, getting people organized, doing, real socialist and communist education? And you guys know, you all follow me on TikTok. Which one of my videos have I done that justifies the attacks against us as right-wingers and Browderites and right-wing extremists? Like, what are we talking about? If you follow my TikTok, if you followed it for any period of time, you know that is not true. You know that is not true. You know that the right-wingers hate us. They attacked me. They were some of the people who doxed me and, emailed my employers demanding that I be fired, which they did end up firing me. Right? And it's we wouldn't be asking this question if Hasan didn't attack us first. Right? But he attacked us first, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And now he's calling us federal agents. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to us for us to say, well, here's the amount of state repression that we've faced. We've lost our jobs and been blackballed from social media. What state repression have you faced? Because if you're going to make a claim that people are feds, present some evidence. And there's no evidence.
Look, I want to ask a question to Hasan Piker's fans. Just genuine good faith question. I'm not going to yell at you. If you're a threat to the system, do the editors at CNN and the people who run CNN, do they let glow-ups get published about you? Why would a news organization controlled by the CIA be like, yeah, give them the glow-up, no problem? Like, what? Why was that? How was that? How does that work? If you're a Hasan Piker fan, we all know CNN. There's literally, through WikiLeaks, we've gotten actual evidence that they're a front for the CIA. And they do work very intentionally about everything. So why is CNN giving Hasan glow-ups? Does anyone know? Does any Hasan fan have an explanation for that? Since you want to start this thing about who's serving the system and who's not. Like, please, one Hasan fan, explain how you can be a threat to the system while CNN is giving you glow-ups. I just would love to know how that works. To give you an idea of the level of methodical manipulation CNN engages when they don't like you, Donnie O'Sullivan came to our event in Dearborn, and we had it was all like infrared people, a bunch of people, right? They found one troll from Hasan's community who infiltrated our event, and 50% of his documentary was this crazy troll pretending, and they're spinning it like this is our supporter. Like everything they do is so calculated. They're so calculated and so manipulated. Why would they give Hasan a free pass and do a glow up on him? So you're saying Hasan's a right winger? Yeah, I'm saying he is an op. I'm saying he is controlled by the system. Hasan is not a critic of the system. He is the system. He is the only political live streamer that they permit. He's there for a reason. They don't let someone rise to that level unless it's controlled opposition.
You don't, Parenti has a quote, it's only once you stray from the post that you feel the tug of the leash, right? And that's what Haas and I and many members of the ACP have experienced. You know, straying from the post, meaning criticizing the system, that you feel the tug
I'll be
of
more
censorship.
specific about that, Eddie. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, it was calling out the proxy war in Ukraine was the first time I got banned, and calling out the color revolution efforts in Cuba, right? So as soon as you really start to take a stance against the system, that you get suppressed. So yeah, it is very suspicious for us
I'll
to
give
see
you
someone.
the line. I'll tell you what the line is. As somebody who's been in this space for a long time, and I know how everything works, I'm going to give you what the line has always been. Where are they going to start attacking you? Are they going to destroy your reputation? Or are you chill, right? And the line is very simple. Will you call for a Dem exit and leave I'm saying as a left winger. What's the red line for the system to attack you as a left winger? If you call for leaving the Democratic Party and forming a new party, a third party, that's the red line. Like, that is where you are officially a threat to the system. And I have my disagreements with PSL. Don't get me wrong. I really do. I really, really don't like the PSL a lot for a lot of what they do. But to give them some credit, even the PSL, when 2020, when those protests were going down, they went after PSL because PSL is not in the Democrats. And they kept saying PSL is tankies, this and that, supporting authoritarians. And now Code Pink, who's aligned with PSL, Nancy Pelosi, was on record doing Russiagate and Chinagate against them. So
Jill
it's not
Stein
that I
as
like
well.
the PSL, but I'm fair enough to give you to just explain to you objectively what is the red line you have to cross to be considered any kind of threat to the system as a left winger. And it has always been, since 2016, by the way, advocating for forming any kind of alternative political power than the two-party duopoly.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Hasan never did that. He has never done that. He has never done that in his entire career. He's never done that. We are nothing compared to Hasan, right, everybody? I'll take it. Sure. Hasan is much more viral. He has much more followers, and he makes much more money. I agree. You're right. Even all of us pulled together, he's like 10 times more prominent than we are. I'll even say that, right? Okay, but with as little as we have, we built and reconstituted the Communist Party, and we built the ACP. Now, you can hate the ACP all you want, but you can't say it's not impressive. You can't say what we have done is not impressive. You can't say what we have done is insignificant. We're on the radar of the entire country now. Oh, I mean, that's an exaggeration, but we've been thrusted onto the scene because of our efforts, because of our ability to know how the algorithm works, and our supporters, right? If Hasan genuinely led his followers to build a new political project and a new political party, let's say in 2020 or 2021, like, imagine what he could have done with his following, with his resources, with his pull. Imagine what he could have done to actually impact politics. And he didn't. Why didn't he do that?
That's
Because
what's so frustrating.
the minute he would do something like that, he gets deplatformed, just like Jackson. And the hit pieces come out, and CNN is going to write hit pieces on him. So you need to understand how it works. You need to understand he's a grifter. He's a grifter, and he's self-serving only for his career and his money. It's 4D chess, man. Yeah, it's 4D chess, but where's the results of the 4D chess?
Hey,
Oh,
we got
Hassan's
AOC
radicalized
elected.
people. What does that mean? He's radicalized them. What do you mean? What does that mean? What does that
Vote for
translate into?
AOC.
Yeah, for AOC.
And that's what's so frustrating. It's like, so he calls himself a socialist, right? With in the era that we're in, with the U.S. empire pushing us to the brink of World War III, it makes so much sense for all socialists and communists to be, working together, fighting together, or at least, at the very least, if we're not going to join hands and fight together, at least don't attack each other. At least don't, he's the largest socialist streamer in the country, and our party is doing all this on the ground work, and he chooses to use his platform rather than to support that and to, help galvanize more people to do that on the ground work and meet people's material needs and organize working class people. He instead aligns with CNN to attack us. And it is, I mean, how does that help the socialist cause in any way? Please.
They don't ever, there's never been a single hit piece from the civil society, think tanks, nothing against Hasan. Nothing. Only Fox News that's it. Which is predictable. It's to be expected. But is Fox News the system? No, Fox News is controlled opposition to the system. Everyone knows that. But nothing, literally nothing. He's never been called dangerous. Who has called Hasan dangerous from mainstream media? Who has raised the alarm bells? I mean, I'm baffled because you'd think it would be the Palestine thing that tips the scale. Finally, he's triggered the alarm bells, and now the system's going to go after him. But it hasn't. You mentioned Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein is like, he's like grasping at straws. Ethan Klein is struggling to criticize Hasan. Ethan Klein is not doing that successfully with the backing of... No, Ethan Klein looks like a crazy person right now. He's failing miserably. Ethan Klein, his whole reputation has been destroyed. The whole right wing hates Ethan Klein. And, you do have the Destiny and Drew Pavlou, NAFO, the NAFO lib. You can't even call them left wing. They're not anymore. And I guess they're embracing him kind of, but what is that on the Purple website? It's nothing. What is that on YouTube? It's nothing. You can't have a level of monopoly that he has. All right. I hope this is a Hasan fan. Go ahead, Kalisa.
Oh, hey guys. I'm not sure exactly if you're looking for a debate tonight or just kind of some comments, but I was just kind of right on what you guys were just saying. I'm not a communist. I'm not sure what political affiliation I am. So please do correct me if I'm wrong with any of the information that I bring forward. But I just wanted to say that it's unfortunate what's happening, and I'm so sorry that you guys are being kind of targeted now. But also not surprised you guys are being targeted, because for communism, you're there to bring the people together to fight against this neoliberal and capitalist system. And because this system is it's such a plague, and it's so ingrained within everything that of course you're going to start to get picked on, and
I
it's
have to
really a
ask you a
shame.
question. Are you like a Hasan viewer, Hasan fan?
I'm not even kidding. I have no idea who this guy was, so I had to Google him just now, and I've seen
Oh,
him
well,
around.
yeah, keep Googling it. Thank you. Anyway,
Thank you for your support.
yeah.
We're just looking to debate Hasan viewers right now, but we appreciate you.
Yeah, look, all I heard is the ACP is they're a socially conservative party. I mean, but what have we done that's bad? What have we actually done that's bad? That's what you have to think about, all right? What have we actually done that's bad? Nothing, right? And to look that woman, to respond to her, look, we appreciate the support and the good faith, and we're not surprised we're under attack by the system either. But that's not what we're trying to say. Obviously, it's very predictable that if you're a communist, you're going to be under attack by the system. But what's kind of grinding my gears is a self-proclaimed left socialist who's the biggest political live streamer, possibly one of the biggest live streamers, political live streamers in America, is from his warm seat in Cambridge University, trying to accuse us of being co-opted and part of the system and bad faith actors when he has never faced any systemic pushback in his entire career. You like what we've done materially, but your ideological shortcomings.
I saw that one.
But how? Like, what do we? It's more what we don't do that you have a problem with. No, we're not going to organize pride parades. No, we're not going to have workshops talking about fat phobia. No, we're not going to sit around and we're not going to do these waste of time things that the DSA does. We're just going to materially get good things done for the working class movement of this country. And that is the number one problem people seem to have with us. It's what we won't do and what we refuse to do.
Right. And I don't mean the flex, but nobody probably is more well-read in Marxist-Leninist theory in this internet space, besides us, as far as people who actually have an influence and a following. And I know a lot of people found my videos through Hasan, but they found my videos to be a step forward from Hasan. And the guy streams 8 hours a day. So do you really think he's taking the time to read theory, in the few hours of the day that he's not streaming? No, he's just appealing to his audience, telling them what they want to hear, reacting to videos. I spent 3 hours today reading Lenin's Materialism and Imperial Criticism. And I don't say that to flex. I say that, to say that we are sharpening our ideological tools all the time. We have this massive education program run by the co-founder of Midwestern Marx, Carlos Garrido, where all of our members, are, in addition to working in their communities and bettering the conditions of people around them, are reading Mao, are reading Lenin, are reading people whose names I can't say or will get banned. All of us are engaging in the act of reading theory, while Hasan streams for 8 hours a day and calls us a crypto scam. So what else? What the hell else are we supposed to think of that? And what are the people who, were fans of me and are fans of Hasan? I get that you might be split, but how are you split? How can you not see what he's doing? I mean, it's disgraceful. At least have me on for a conversation. I know a lot of his audience wants to see that, but he won't do it because the loudest members of his audience, the most liberal members of his audience, would freak out on him for it, and he's too scared of them.
Again, but I have a really simple question which no Hasan fan can answer, and I'd love to see anyone answer this question. Can you be a threat to the system and a left-wing threat to the system if CNN gives you glow-ups? Would the CIA-controlled CNN, which they are, by the way, it's been proven that they're a front for the CIA, would they the guys controlling CNN, they're like, oh yeah, this Hasan guy, give him a pass. Could a threat to the system get away with CNN portraying them in a good light? I just want one Hasan fan to answer that, because it's the one question Hasan fans cannot answer. Are critics of the system capable of becoming the top political live streamers of Amazon-owned websites and getting glow-ups by every mainstream media news outlet besides Fox? Jim, yes, he can. Yo, no shot. There's a guy who actually believes that's possible. Tell us, how is that possible?
Teach us.
How if Jackson Hinkle is a bad faith actor in a Fed, but Hasan is not? Explain to us how that works.
Do you guys know how much harassment I get from the TikTok system on this app? It's every day when I wake
No,
up. I have
Jim,
to appeal multiple videos because they've been taken down, which kills their virality.
It is an anthropological curiosity to me now that there is a human being that exists who just said what Jim said, that yes, it's possible. I would love to know how that's possible, Jim. Please tell us how that's possible.
Join the stream.
People requesting, let's see if they can answer the $1 million question no Hasan fan can answer.
Thank you, Manny.
It's a simple question no Hasan fan can answer. If you are a left-wing threat to the system,
There's Jim.
does the system's regime outlets glorify you with media puff pieces? How does that work? Jim, go ahead. Explain to us the impossible.
You can hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say I'm not a Hassan fan. I just think that the way you're talking about it, it makes it look like there's a conspiracy, but we know that it's the capital's interest in CNN. It's vested interest. It's not that they're actually being
Hold on,
told to
Jim.
do
I just
this or
want to ask
that.
you a question. You
Yeah.
think CNN is solely concerned with profit?
No, I don't. What I'm saying is this idea. You said that they're representing the CIA. We know that they're connected. We know that there's, but that
We
doesn't
know
mean
that
there's
they're a
somebody
front for
from
the
this. Yeah.
CIA, and we know
Yes.
that the CNN is concerned with controlling American public opinion in ways that benefit the system. Yes or no?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a
Okay.
misrepresentation
So
of these
why would
ideas of a false media because what CNN they're not being paid to do that. It's the vested interest. It's the companies that do that that succeed.
there's
The
no
idea
high? Wait. What are you talking about?
I'm
CNN is not controlling and manipulating American public opinion to align with the system.
no, I'm saying they are, but I'm saying
Okay,
it's
they are.
not.
Okay, we just stop there. They are. So you maybe, I'm in good faith, I'm going to try to interpret what you're trying to say. That no, not everyone working for CNN has that conscious agenda. But you don't know how bureaucracies work. If Donnie O'Sullivan wants to do this, he needs to get the green light. And if somebody at the top has a problem with it, they're going to shut it down. And that's how bureaucracies work. Oh, we had to shut it down. It's a no-go. Okay? He got the green light to give Hasan the glow up he gave him. So what does that say?
And there are actual, State Department employees and stuff working at CNN. I think you're saying like they're not directly controlled by the intelligence agencies, but that's what the revolving door is. We all know that this
In
revolving
in,
door exists.
in
You work in politics and then
bureaucracies,
you
it's
go to
not
the
that
media
every
or wherever.
in any kind of systemic bureaucracy, it's not that every single person there is directly consciously serving the CIA's interests. It's that the bureaucratic decisions that are made reflect those interests. So what is allowed, what isn't allowed, how things are spun, what the editorial team permits, all of these things are very carefully manufactured and controlled. Very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. I mean, when New York Times did a hit piece on Jackson, you have no idea how manipulated that was. So I'll give you an example. They interviewed Jackson and they asked him, something like, how has your Twitter grown? Was your Twitter growth been successful? And he's like, yeah, of course, it's been great on Twitter. My growth has been phenomenal. Then they spun that and took it out of context, that quote, and they said, here's what Jackson has to say about Gaza. And they go, it's been doing very successful. So you see what they did. It was an incredible level of methodical bad faith. It was so engineered. I was on the phone with Jackson every step of the way in his New York Times interview, okay? And then I saw what they published, and I couldn't believe my eyes. You're not going to sit here and tell me they don't know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. The hit piece that Tess Owens did about me and Jackson as well, you need to understand, you don't... Look, you would be reasonable if you're like, they can maybe get away with, some glow ups, but not a single negative hit piece. Not even one. Not even one person fear mongering about them. Not even one. Not even one article. Nothing. How does that work?
Okay, I'm confused on now what you're talking about, where you're saying there's no, like, not a single person, because there are people, maybe they don't call out Hassan,
No,
but
there's
CNN,
no,
on
there's
CNN,
no,
that's
besides
their whole.
Fox News, there has never been anything from The Guardian, from any kind of reputable mainstream media source. They have never gone after
Okay, so
Hassan.
publications. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm talking about people, but
Mainstream.
people have been on the show and they have made references to Twitch streamers. They made references to Hassan. I don't know about Hassan literally, but there's, if you watch CNN Morning Joe and like these other things, they bring it up and it's in the little segments where they'll bring people on and they'll talk about how the left has to have the left, and I know that's what we're talking about, right? That Hassan Piker is the left's Joe Rogan. There are dissenting opinions. That's not the point that
yeah,
I'm
but why
originally
are they
trying to make.
even
But
allowing that conversation?
but
Where's
this
our
is
conversation?
but this is the point
Why
that.
They
isn't
never
there a
do that for us. They
conversation?
But
never
this is no,
platform us to defend
I'm not trying to say
ourselves.
that at all. All I'm trying to say is I think that there's a little bit of a reductive stance, because even if you can prove it, that CNN, it is a conscious decision, which I think you can. So I'm not saying that, but I think it's reductive to use that as a point to say Hassan is not a threat, because I think there's many other reasons why Hassan could be brought on
But
and
how could you be
why
a
he could be
threat?
getting called the Joe
How
Rogan of the left.
how could you be a threat if you are given such a free pass and an easy time by the system?
Because this is what I'm saying. It's more methodical than just people are gonna watch and all of a sudden just go to Hassan. Like what? Like that's not. There's a benefit to getting people okay with CNN, because we know that people do not trust CNN. They do
Wait,
not trust the
why?
news.
Hold on,
So
hold
they're
on.
throwing. They know it's their equivalent of
What are you
Fox
talking? Wait,
News. I'm
what are
saying
you
they're
talking?
trying to.
You're saying Hassan has so much power. This is what you're trying to say. Hassan has
No,
so much pull that CNN is trying to use him to siphon the viewers to make CNN look better. But you
no.
didn't
I'm just
ask the
saying it could be
question.
incompetency. I'm just
But
saying that
Jim, you
there's
didn't ask the question of how Hassan was able to gain that pull. How was he able to gain that audience?
you talk about his streaming audience that he got from, like, yeah, I'm not defending Hassan.
How?
I'm saying it's being reductive to just say that he's not, because of the way CNN treats him, he's not a threat. I'm not saying he is a
But
threat. I'm trying to say that there's other reasons, there's better arguments, and we shouldn't be looking at this from this point of view of what CNN does, because we know that either
Why
way.
not? CNN
but
would
well,
never
okay, Jim,
platform
Jim. To
Michael
be fair,
Parenti. Michael
can you
Parenti was
compare
blackballed
how
from mainstream
CNN
media.
Can you compare how CNN treats other people versus Hassan?
Compare how they treat us. Compare how they treat people like
No,
Michael
yeah, I can't.
Parenti.
But I'm
Why they
trying to.
blackball Parenti and not Hassan? We
No,
don't. We shouldn't point that out when Hassan calls us feds. Of course we should.
No, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That's not, you can't, this is not like we're shifting and we're getting into CNN. I'm not trying to defend Hassan. I'm not trying to defend CNN. I just think that that kind of statement, because that's the kind of statement that, like, because I think that the only thing that this kind
Hold
of
on,
argument does,
Smurder.
and
Hold
I
on,
know a
there's a
lot of it's on
genius. Hold on,
Hassan.
I gotta address a genius in the chat. Smurder Simp 9000 because you're feds.
CNN won't let us on because
We're the
feds.
feds, but the guy getting glow ups by CNN and all mainstream media and who gets no systemic pushback, that's a genuine actor. The guy who's gotten nothing, not a slap on the wrist from the Purple website, Amazon's website, that's not a fed. We're the feds because we're getting persecuted all the time. You are I can't say it, but you're think. You don't do that. You don't think. You don't think. We're feds because we're getting nothing but persecution, and you guys have to think like critically, okay? The guy that looks shiny and squeaky clean, I get it. You want to go and follow the guy who's shiny and squeaky clean. But just know that he looks shiny and squeaky clean because nobody's doing him dirty. And if nobody's doing him dirty, it's because he's not a threat to the system. And the people that are threats to the system, they do them dirty. I have questions about the FSB. We're not talking about the FSB. We're talking about Hasan trying to say that the American state is somehow throwing us a bone. Yeah, the guy that looks squeaky clean, like there's nothing wrong with him, that's the guy you got to question. You don't go and look at Haas and Jackson and say, oh, these guys have a bunch of filth on them. Yeah, because we're getting filth dumped on us constantly.
This Fletcher person on.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm the perfect person for you to talk about this because I was like, a Hassan fan for a while. I mean, I just been in the political sphere for a while, but I found Midwestern Marks like maybe 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed like learning about content from y'all and like like you said, way deeper communist and actual socialist thought than Hassan. Like that's definitely a point that he's trash at.
So how do you feel about Hasan now?
Honestly, like him being at Cambridge and stuff, I totally agree with you guys for like a good fair amount of points, but I think that, well, I definitely think that he should platform you, Eddie. I think that would definitely like the conversation dialogue would open up, and I think that he shouldn't go on arguments like calling you guys like a crypto scam or something. But
He called us feds too.
yeah,
Bro,
but and I honestly,
Fletcher, I don't want to break this to you, bro. Hasan is an op. Whether he's in on it himself or not, I have no proof. But I am willing to bet everything to my name that the system, it's a fact, it's 100% true that he's propped up by the system.
okay, I did like look it up. I was like, I'm gonna find an article like shitting on Hassan real quick. And you're right, it was mostly Fox News. Like I even thought if I looked up the Hassan 9/11 part that I'd see a CNN and them covering and shitting on him more. But I do see like during his streaming coverage, like he covers a lot of people whenever they talk about him. Like there is tons of people in the Democratic progressive sphere who do him dirty, but I would totally agree that there is something to say about how much dirtier you guys get done than him. But I'd say that him being promoted in this piece by CNN is obviously they pick him a little bit for his coverage on LGBT and like in civil rights and stuff like that. But
It's
Why
the
is
same
that
reason
something
Fox
aligned to-
attacks him.
this guy,
Right.
the guy, like one journalist can pick him without it being like corporations as a totality. I'd say.
But why is it? It's not one. First of all, it's not one journalist. It's the entire network. They have to give the green light.
I'm sure if you put him on and you had him talk to Anderson Cooper, like Anderson Cooper would just like completely disagree with all of his worldview.
You can have someone
have a
listen.
social
I need to
views.
explain to you how this works. They can disagree with you, but that's not what it's about. Two people having a civil disagreement in conversation is not a problem. What they do if you're actually a threat is wreck your reputation, destroy your reputation, portray you as a bad faith actor, portray you as a crazy person, portray you as a monster, portray you as a propagandist. Those are the things they do when they see you as a threat.
I mean, you're a fan of my content, right? You know, there's an insane amount of people on the internet who think I'm an extreme right winger.
Hold on, no, I want to.
Does that make any sense?
I want to address something from Smearder. He's saying that ACP supports getting funding by owning property and landlording. All your favorite leftist organizations in the U.S., the PSL, the CPUSA, you name it, all own real estate. All of them without exception. And they rent them out to tenants. And that's how they get revenue and funding. Can you address that? Can you address your landlording problem?
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, you can continue.
no, I was just gonna say, like, the smear campaign against us has been so thorough, to the point where you have people believing I'm an extreme rightist, and you know how ridiculous that is because you actually engage with the substance of our content. So I think it's totally fair to question why the same thing hasn't been orchestrated against Hasan as he fed jackets us.
I
Listen,
got
people are curious. People are curious about the Dugan thing. Listen, guys, don't talk to me about Dugan until you go read a book by Dugan. A book. Go read a book by Dugan. Do your homework and come back and tell me what Dugan's about. Then you can attack me for saying that Dugan does offer an interesting perspective, though I don't agree with it, which can get you thinking critically about things, geopolitics, and so on and so on. So, first of all, instead of accepting what CNN and all these CIA people like Alexander Reed Ross have said about Dugan, go read him yourself and then come back to me. Slavic supremacy and Christian nationalism? Okay, I'm not going to laugh at you. Dugan, even when he was the most problematic, which was in the late 80s and early 90s, that was his most problematic phase, when he was involved in the Casbowl party. He didn't found it, he was buzzing around it. But even then, he has fully always repudiated all kinds of racism, all kinds of racialism, and any kind of notion of any kind of ethnic, national, or racial supremacy. And I can give you texts written by Mr. Dugan where he denounces nationalism constantly. He's not a nationalist. He's not a religious fundamentalist. He's a philosopher. Plato was a philosopher. Aristotle was a philosopher. Aristotle was a philosopher who justified slavery. So should we cancel Aristotle and not engage with the philosophy of Aristotle? Why is the Russian man? Go read the book yourself. Don't talk to me about Dugan the boogeyman until you've actually read him yourself instead of trusting what the system is saying about him. Go read him yourself and see what a big monster he is.
And I've never even.
Eddie, by the way, Eddie has nothing to do with this. This is just me.
I've never even right. There's so many. That's another thing. Is I get called a Duganist and a LaRoucheite. Like I've never
I'll address
engaged
the
with them
LaRouche.
even.
I'll address the LaRouche thing. The LaRouche thing. LaRouche was introduced to us by the same parapolitical podcasters that themselves popularized him and used to like say, oh, he's got some interesting ideas about like British intelligence or whatever. So that's how it was introduced to me personally in 2020. After that, I had never really read LaRouche. I've never read cover to cover any of his books, but we met the Schiller people like Daniel Burke, who I know personally, and those people are decent to us, and I have no complaints about them. And in every capacity that I've ever talked to them or anything, it's always like they're protesting the Ukraine war. They want better relations with China and Russia. So like Infrared, Eddie had nothing to do with this. I have to emphasize this. You're talking about me. I didn't see any problem. Now, everyone kept afterwards told me, oh, there's all these problems with LaRouche and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't know. I really didn't know. I don't know about all these problematic things about LaRouche from the 80s or whatever. But that's that. I mean, when I said the praise you're talking about is when I said the land bridge idea was a great idea, where we build a bridge from Alaska to Russia to deepen economic cooperation between the U.S. and Russia. I love that idea, right? But I mean, I don't agree with LaRouche on anything when it comes to philosophy. I don't agree with his economics. I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with his strategy. And that's that.
The most I know about LaRouche is from watching Haas debate a LaRouche follower and absolutely destroy them and cook them on like a lot of these positions that LaRouche took. And then to turn around and, have so many people calling me a LaRoucheite. Like I don't know anything about him, and it's only because of my association to Haas, who I know for a fact has major philosophical disagreements with LaRouche that he's expressed multiple times. So
listen, guys, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot simultaneously be a LaRoucheite and a Duganist. You can't be both. You can call me a Duganist, you'd be wrong. You can call me a LaRoucheite, you'd be even more wrong, by the way. But you can't say that someone's both. It doesn't make sense. What do you mean, a Dugan, LaRouche? What are you talking about? Those camps have zero connections with each other. Schiller has no ties to Dugan. And Schiller people, when I went to the conference to speak, which was the only time I met them in person, besides Daniel, which he was also at the CPI thing in Austin. So that's it. They gave me shit about Dugan, just like you give me shit about Dugan. So why are you saying LaRouche and Dugan? It makes no sense. It's incoherent. It makes no sense. And by the way, Karl Marx read everybody. In Marx's day, there was no such thing as Marxism. All the people that Marx read were non-Marxists, all of them, and that he was inspired by. Lenin, guess who inspired him to write Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism? Was it other Marxists? No. It was an English liberal, conservative liberal, Hobson, who inspired Lenin. As a matter of fact, a more indirect lineage that people neglect and forget, who inspired Lenin decisively to the point where all the generations of the Russian revolutionaries took it for granted? People like Alexander Herzen, people like Cherny, I can't pronounce his name off the top of my head, the real original author of What Is to Be Done, which Lenin's What Is to Be Done was a play off of the original fictional novel What Is to Be Done. Chernikovsky, I believe, is his name. And these were all non-Marxists, whose views would be regarded as deeply problematic. So, let's not kid ourselves complaining about, potential non-Marxist sources of reading and inquiry. You are an opportunist. Do you know what opportunism is? Tell me what opportunism is from the Marxist perspective, and then come back and I'll decide if you're even worth responding to.
So Haz is Duganist. How does Eddie feel? Do you have worms in your ears or your brain? Did you listen to nothing he just said? I mean, to the extent that, Haz has done what Marx did and found the rational kernels in every thinker, yeah, I am in 100% agreement with this idea of, like civilization states being stronger than balkanized states, right? That, one unified state that encompasses many ethnicities or nationalities is stronger and seems to be the way forward in the future versus balkanized, West European style states.
People
I agree.
Allowed not only to be influenced, but to be shaped by profusely CIA like neoliberal academics pushing intersectionality and Gloria Steinem, and you can be influenced by all of that and let it shape your entire worldview, but I'm getting crap for reading Dugan? How does that make sense? How do you fall for all of this neoliberal crap that was anti-Marxist and reactionary, but I can't read Dugan and draw conclusions from reading Dugan, even if it's critical?
Can I just chime in and say just a few sentences and head out? I don't know why. I think you guys have this setup where it doesn't allow for camera, but some folks were calling me a creep for wanting to join the call. I'm just a leftist woman I consider myself further to the left than Hasan. However, I really, really genuinely don't think this conversation is being productive. And I feel like there's a lot of pointing fingers. Like he called us feds, so he's a fed. Yes, it did surprise me. It fully surprised me that he was put on CNN all of a sudden and on Pod Save America. However,
God
how-
save. I didn't even know that. Oh man.
however, which I don't
Obama
even know those
staffers.
hacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are Biden staffers. However, I know how media works. And they know the pendulum swings, and they know when there's going to be a right-wing government, people are going to tend to want answers, and people are going to want to shift blame and see who has any answers. So they tend to platform whoever's going to be, I guess, the one that will bring the rating, the opposition, and like their version of the opposition. Now, Hassan is not as far left as I am, but to people on CNN and whatever, to them that's like very, very extreme. Like people
So you
like
don't think he's a Fed? You think he's being utilized by the corporate media and the Feds
I
in
genuinely
order
don't
to
think
get people back into the Democratic Party? Which it's
no,
the same.
not
but
and not
hold on, no,
entirely.
my
I think he's
question,
being
Jin,
used.
is
Hold on,
regardless
just
of
please.
your
I beg, just let me finish my thought process. I promise I will be done soon. I think he's also being used to mock being a leftist and not a Democrat, because I've noticed every time he's brought on, like after, like even though the interview looked glowing and everything, every single host has said something negative about what he's saying. They're like, oh, like that's so funny that he says that he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's not, has he even listened to the policies that Kamala like was talking about? Did he even like
well,
realize?
yeah, I mean, you
So
would
he
hold
is
on.
being used
You
to be
would
like,
you
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah. You
you
want
would you would
answers. You think he has
you would
answers,
expect, hold on, you would expect them to at least disagree with him.
but
But
they
the problem
do.
is, what? Yeah, you would expect the host to disagree with the guy who's claiming to be like a radical socialist on CNN, of course. But the question still stands of why are they even platforming him in good faith? Why
Because
are they
he's
exposed?
getting so many. He is like, you cannot deny. Look, you cannot. Both of you, like I love Midwestern Marks, by the way, fan. Been following you for a while. You cannot deny that he has a big platform. He has a large.
Why? I'll stop you. I'm going to stop you right there. How is he allowed to have a big platform?
He has been in media for the past 10 years. He
So
has
am
a
I.
family
Got
that's
banned
in
8
media.
times.
Hold
His
on. It
uncle,
doesn't.
his family.
You think having a career in media is going to protect you from the system if you
No,
turn against?
Look at Max Blumenthal.
Look, I think you are refusing to listen. That's not what I'm saying. He
Just
has
don't
a
agree.
platform already. He is easily accessible to a lot of people. When you're easily accessible, it's easier to transmit information to people that you cannot access. They believe probably his audience are people that they
Okay,
can.
can I ask you a question? Why has he not
I
been
can't
deplatformed or demonetized even one time?
because he's bringing them so much money. At the end of the day, we live in a capitalist
Was
society.
Jackson Hinkle not bringing money to YouTube? By the way, how do
He
you
was,
know?
but he's a lot more divisive, and he is straight up a Nazi. Like he just says a
Don't
lot of
say that word on
Hold
here.
on, hold on.
It's
Before we
also
get to
not
that,
true.
you don't think Hasan is divisive on the Purple
He
website?
is, but he is like very, very soft. Like this is why I consider myself further to the left, because I feel like he's a bit more lib-dub than he likes to
You're not
admit.
even hearing
Yes.
yourself right now. He is the
How
number.
are you?
He
Are
is.
you
He
even
was
allowing
allowed
a
to
one full
grow
sentence? I feel like
unimpeded. He was allowed to grow unimpeded to being the top political live streamer on Amazon's streaming website. The top. He was allowed without any obstructions whatsoever. No media hit pieces.
he has
No.
connections. His uncle is literally has been in media. Like he has.
That
Like
doesn't
you
help the
cannot.
argument that he's not a controlled
Hold on.
opposition.
And I'm
You-
not
you-
saying that he is. But what I'm saying is that this conversation is not productive. Like this conversation is going into circles.
think-
about,
So we should
oh,
just let him
hold on.
call
he's
us
not,
feds
like,
and not
at
I just
the
want to
end
ask
of
you a
the
question.
day,
We should
I
let
feel
him
like
call
he's
us feds
focusing.
and say nothing.
It seems like look.
I
I
did
just want
not
to ask
know.
you
I
something.
did not know that he called you feds.
That's
and
what the whole
very-
conversation's
I
about.
know.
I want-
but
I
I
want-
didn't
no,
even know
Jen,
that that was
Jen,
happening.
Jen, let me
I
ask
was
you a
just
question.
trying to
Federal
tell him
agents.
to, like,
Let me ask you a question.
sure.
Do threats and dissidents and critics of the system, are they allowed to grow on social media at all with zero systemic pushback?
No, but he has the benefit of having, again, connections.
What?
He didn't start as
I
like,
agree. He's
oh,
got
hold on,
connections.
hold
That's
on.
what I'm trying to say. What connections,
I
though?
swear to God, just let me finish. He already had a platform, and he did not start as a leftist. He actually had a lot of, like, he was very libbed up in the very beginning. He likes to say that I have been consistent in saying the same thing. But if we go back all the way back to
Right.
the beginning of his journey on the Young Turks, he wasn't really as, I guess,
Okay,
far
so I'll
left.
tell you something.
I can never finish.
I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter if he flipped his position, and it's immaterial as to what I'm asking you. If he changed his position, why didn't he start getting systemic pushback for that?
He already grew the platform.
No,
to
he
a
didn't.
level-
You're completely wrong. So Hasan's more leftward turn was Bernie's primary run leading up to 2020. And that is when he built the audience that he has today, roughly 20,000 live concurrent. He has not grown past that since 2020, since 2019, 2020. So it was precisely on that basis that he grew. And he has since received no systemic pushback. Now, there are so many political live streamers that were part of mainstream media that did build very, very large, huge audiences who have gotten deplatformed or demonetized because they have taken positions that are considered threatening to the system.
Because
For
he
better or
always
worse.
played it safe. That's why I'm saying I'm far left than him, because he is actually. You do realize that he has a full team, a marketing team? Like, he's an entity. He's a company. Like,
You're making our argument for us.
You're making our
what I'm
argument
saying
for
is
us.
that at the end of the day, you can't, like, I still don't know if he's a Fed, but he is still a media entity.
Which means if you're allowed to be a media entity,
You guys,
it means
I
you are
get it.
being protected by the feds.
He is a pathway for people who have radical leftist energy to filter them right into the Democrats. They're called radical
Right,
recruitment.
hold on. There's something else,
And
we
they've
have to
been
address.
vital to the ruling class's strategy for the last however many years.
There's something we have to address. I want to go back to this.
Yeah.
So, Jin,
Jen Erso, that's Star Wars. My
do
actual
you
name.
think whatever?
Gotcha.
Do you think that a form of persecution could be like reputation destruction and things like that? Like, if you read books about how U.S. intelligence agencies operate, if they don't have a legal pretext,
I
they
really,
cannot.
really,
They cannot.
really.
They cannot like get you physically, right? Yet, at least. They'll
I
start
really wish the
resorting.
camera works, because I would love for you to see my facial expression. I would love to show you
Okay.
my lived fucking. I'm from Iraq. I'm from Baghdad, born and raised.
Jin, I'm just
Hold
gonna
on, hold on. I came
ask
to
you.
the States in 2009. I lived American imperialism. I've seen it with my very own eyes. I have held dead bodies. I have seen the blood of my cousin. So
Careful what you say on live, please, not to cut
what
you
I'm
off.
saying is that I have experienced American imperialism probably more than a lot of people that are in America. I have seen it firsthand. I've seen soldiers being amputated right there and then.
Can you answer my question?
What I'm saying is that, like, I feel like there is an immediate pushback. Like, you just assume that I am just this, probably some leftist.
I
that
asked
is
you a
trying to
question.
defend.
Can you
Okay.
answer the question?
Can you ask the question again?
Do you think that when U.S. intelligence agencies cannot have a legal pretext to target you, that they'll resort to trying to destroy and malign your reputation?
Of course, they will always do that.
So you can't repeat it because we're on TikTok, but if you roll back the tape, you said that Jackson was a literal Yahtzee. Can
Yeah.
you tell me why you said that?
Have you seen his anti-Semitic comment? Like, he has said some shit that is really.
Yeah. Name them. Name the things he
There
said.
are specific tweets. There are so many tweets that he has
Which
posted.
ones?
Name.
You want me to
name the
send
one.
you links? Because I can. I have your Discord, Midwestern
No,
Mars.
just,
send them in the Midwest
read
ones.
it out, but like censor any like
I
bad words.
blocked
or
him
anything.
like in the last 2 months, but I can unblock him and go. He has. You cannot tell me he has not been like. I'm very kind of shocked, honestly, because
Well, what do you think? What do you think the worst thing he said is?
the way he doesn't say Israel. He talks about, like, he says Jews this and Jews, like, have you not read?
Where?
How?
So what's an
Where?
example?
You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious.
You can't be. Well,
No, I want
I'll
you to
believe
give
you
me
if you
one
show me an
example.
example.
I want you to give me one example
I
of him
will
saying.
gladly send you plenty on your Discord. I'm
Do
not
it right now. I'll be able
Well,
to see
how
it.
now? I have to go on X and unblock
If
you.
you can
Just
send,
no.
if you
Go
can-
to
hold
his
on, hold on.
page and
If you can
search the
send
word
us,
that you're looking for.
if you can,
That
no,
easy.
if you can send, hold on, this is ridiculous. If you can send us links, you can just read off the tweets yourself. Just read them to us.
Oh my lord. At the end of the day, I guess my point was this is pointless, and
No, I think that's an
we need to
incredible
organize together. We need to
accusation. You said he's a
realize we have
literal.
each other. Focus on the main thing. We need to work together. We
You're
need to
the one
stop-
who just attacked Jackson.
But you
How's
just
that
because
said
working
he is
Jackson
together?
not
is
with
the
us.
Yahtzee.
He is not
Prove
with
it
us.
then. Show us the evidence that you say is so abundant on his Twitter
But
page.
no pickles on my burger says he has evidence, so I'm gonna give you a lifeline call and help. Have no pickles on my burger to help you.
What's up? You know what? Haas and Midwestern Marks, I actually watch your guys' stuff. Like you guys, Haas, even though there's some things I disagree with you on, you're
So hold
well
on,
read.
there's
I won't deny that.
there's this is like a game show and she phoned in some help and
Oh,
you
okay,
needed to
all
get
right,
help.
all right,
Yeah.
lifeline. All right, so in terms of anti-Semitism, I don't I off the top of my head, not for that, but for things like Jackson Hinkle, going back to Hassan Piker and the Fed thing, to make it clear, I don't think you're a Fed. I don't think Midwestern Marks is a Fed. I don't think
Right. So you don't have anything. Anyway, Jin, you made an accusation. Well, okay, I want to just ask you a question. Just and hear me out here, all right? In good faith. You were so ready and willing to call him a Yahtzee without any proof, not even off the top of your head, but it's just because he's kind of like known that way in the spaces you frequent. Now, could you even entertain the possibility that that could possibly be because the narrative has been engineered and manufactured in such a way that it's easy for people to call Jackson a Yahtzee, even if there's actually no concrete anything backing that up? Hold on, there's a watermelon who said they can be the lifeline. Go ahead and request them.
Well, I guess before I get a lifeline, not that I'm trying to get a lifeline,
Yeah.
because I really don't even know why we're spending any time talking about this Hinkle, unless
No,
you
'cause
guys
I
are.
think it's a good
Are you
example.
friends
It's an
with, like,
example.
hold on. Are you friends with him trying to defend him, or what's going on? Like, what's the point of
I
having?
certainly don't think he's a Yahtzee.
Jackson
That's
is one of us.
well,
Hold on, to be clear, Jackson
That's
is one
when
of
we
us.
disagree, and that's when I have then to leave, because we're just not going to see eye to eye. Appreciate the
But why?
opportunity. Good
Why is
night.
there a
Prove it
discursive
with
barrier?
evidence.
Hold on, but why is there such a
That was such a.
So we're talking about persecution and manipulation and who's a Fed and who's not. And there's such a level of psychological discursive barrier here on this issue in particular, where this woman could not even engage. And you're telling me the Feds have not manipulated it and engineered the narrative to be so overwhelmingly against Jackson? Again, Hasan Piker is the guy who's squeaky clean. There's nothing wrong with his reputation. Jackson is like a demon in comparison.
For what?
And hold on. The question is, are you so naive to think that's organic? Do you think the internet is organic? Do you think that this is not? And we know how much things are engineered and controlled. Because for us to partake in shaping narratives and controlling discourse, which we do as the ACP and as infrared, yes, we do. And it's a lot of methodical planning and engineering that goes into it that we're doing. And we're amateurs. And we're fighting actual Feds and battling them. And we're amateurs who don't even know what we're doing. So to say it's organic, no, we don't buy that. We know what it takes to fight the system. There's nothing organic about it. All right. Zigbee, go ahead. I'm going to reiterate the question I ask every Hasan supporter. Is it possible to be a threat or dissident against the system if the system's media machine is doing glow ups on you and praising you and you're getting no pushback at all? CNN in particular.
The question is, sorry, could you repeat it?
Yeah, can you be a threat to the system if CNN is like doing glow ups on you and giving you no problems? And
No, because they're
right,
agents of the system.
right. I'm glad we agree. Thank you. All right, let's bring up someone else. Jesser, I'm gonna ask the same question. Is it possible to be a threat to the system and have CNN do glow ups on you and like cover you so well and make you look so good?
You eating? Hello? This is Woo, thank you, Sleeper Cell.
All right, I think this guy's a little dumbfounded.
Oh shit. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on. My bad. I'm literally walking my fucking dog. That's so funny. Sorry, my bad. So actually, I wanted to say to you guys, I really appreciate you guys for accepting my request. I wanted to say, and this is an exact answer to your question, Haas, so I apologize. I just wanted to get this point in real quick. I wanted to say,
All right, we're looking for people to answer the question. K Donk, please, if you heard the question, answer it, and if you haven't heard it, I'll repeat it.
People gotta fix their internet. Should we go to someone else?
Yeah. This person is wow, it's like they backed out. I added 2 people. They backed out. Venice, go ahead. Okay, they left. Jay with the hammer and sickle emoji. Can you answer the question?
Jay, you're on. Are you there, Jay? What are these noises?
All right, get the fuck out of here. What the hell was that? Kevin, can you answer the $1 million question?
Yo, what's good, guys?
Yo, what's up? Can you answer the $1 million question that no Hasan fan can answer?
Sorry, can you just repeat it for me real quick?
Yeah, can threats to the system get glowing glow ups by CNN?
Honestly, I think yes, if they're trying to like discredit someone else like you guys. Honestly, like
Oh.
like if they're just doing it like real
So
short
like
term.
you're saying he is a threat to the system, but just not as much of a threat as us.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was-
I don't know if necessarily I think he's a big threat or anything, but I feel like he could be a good gateway. You know what I mean? Like some people kind of get interested in his stuff, and then they go along a path that ends up with you guys, kind of thing.
Right, but that's kind of not possible if he's in Cambridge calling Jackson a Fed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I don't know. I think a lot of the people who watch him disagree with a lot of the stuff he says, right? Like especially something like that, and that's like kind of like a nice like leftist thing now is just like calling everyone feds, especially you guys for some reason. So I don't think necessarily like he's like some
Right.
kind
And
of
you got to ask the question, what would feds do to target actual threats? Well, they would Fed jacket them and make everyone believe it.
Especially with someone who's nominally left wing or who claims to also be a socialist, that makes it more powerful because normies see that, you know, and this is the power of controlled opposition or radical recuperators is, you know, they see someone who calls himself a socialist calling communist feds, they're more likely to believe it than if Fox News is, you know, saying some dumb shit.
yeah. But if he was like integrated like that, wouldn't he be doing like the pro Rojava or SDF like Vosh kind of positions? Like he wasn't pro SMO when it started. Like he was saying, Putin is bad and stuff just to be safe, but he was introducing people to the concept of, understanding that, Putin did this because of the like all the NATO influence in Ukraine and stuff. Like he's a safe
Right. But it's
version.
kind of baffling. Like, coverage of that war is why I was banned from
Me too.
a purple
Me
purple
too.
place.
From TikTok.
They deplatformed me, and I was doing very well, by the way. And they deplatformed me because I was being far more direct than that. So it's like, why would they? Now, maybe they're not going to deplatform him. Well, okay, I need to tell you how it works with the deplatforming. What will happen is that a think tank will do a hit piece on you, and all they did to me is they said I repeated Kremlin propaganda, which Hasan also
Yeah.
did. By that same standard, if you're saying this is because of NATO expansion, that's a Kremlin talking point. That's all it takes. The think tank publishes a report. It looks very scientific. It looks very professional. Oh, he's repeating Kremlin talking points. So they're insinuating you're an agent of Russia. And then a news outlet will cover that think tank's report. They'll cover it. And then from that coverage, they'll reach out to the platform. And the platform, and that's how it works. And that's what happened to me. Why did it not happen to him?
Well, I think he was just really trying to take the safe route because, I mean, look, we all know he likes the money, right? Obviously.
Right.
So he's gonna make sure that that keeps coming in. I know, because I was watching Hinkle, The Dive is what his show was called then when it first happened. And yeah, he was going out, he's speaking the truth, and he got axed for it. So Hassan's trying to figure out that right balance. I do think he's more radical than he lets on, but I think it's more so like he is a careerist, opportunist, right? But I think him existing is better than him not existing for the left because it kind of
disagree.
gets some people who are more lib, right?
I think I think he's got a monopoly on the space, and that if he didn't exist, someone would take his place who's actually principled and, well, maybe not even principled, but actually left wing. Actually left wing.
And I think me getting some of his fans to come over to us is more a credit to the power of Marxism-Leninism, which I've studied deeply, than it is a credit to Hasan. I think I would have been able to find those people anyways. I think it's more likely that he keeps people in a sort of echo chamber. And then, of course, as soon as I actually am part of a real organization doing work on the ground, he starts openly attacking me rather than, and kind of closing off that bridge that his viewers could take from him to me. I don't really give him credit for the overlap in our audience. I think it's just because a lot of people are looking for something deeper, more theoretical, more a systematic analysis anyways, and they would be with or without Hasan.
All right, K-Donk.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I just joined. Can you repeat the question? Or if
Yeah, the $1 million question is, how can you be a threat to the system and CNN is doing glow ups on you?
how can you be a threat to the system? I
If
think.
CNN is doing glow ups on you like they did for Hasan Piker.
Oh, I mean by attacking their interviewers directly.
Which they
If
don't
you
do.
do research on the interviewers.
Yeah, but did they do that for Hasan? Did they attack him?
Oh, personally, I didn't see it, but
Yeah.
I just
Well, I
love you
recommend it
guys,
goes.
and
Because they didn't. They didn't attack him. They didn't attack him at all.
Our boy King Ratchet's back.
All right. King Ratchet, what's up?
So, correct me if I'm wrong here. Are you guys angry at Hasan because he called you feds? Am
Yeah.
I understanding this?
That's the most recent thing. He also said we were a crypto scam when we did not have a cryptocurrency, and it was a lie he saw on Twitter and repeated, and then never corrected.
So I can I be fair here? Because I got to be honest. The last time that we had a conversation, and this is just purely on Marxist or Marxism, and like, I'm a Marxist as well. And the last conversation that I had with you two, you guys were defending America as like a settler colonial nation.
Jesus
And like
Christ. Can you talk? What does that have to do with feds?
the problem is when you guys are using Marxist Leninism and using it and
You're doing
bastardizing
something.
You don't know
that's
the
really-
Marxist
hold on,
Leninist
hold on,
position
hold
on
on.
America.
You're doing something.
You're
that's really
bastardizing
bad.
it. You are though.
You are. You don't know the Marxist Leninist position on America
Hold
and
on,
what it's always been.
Eddie. Don't allow this guy to get away with what he just did. You have a theoretical disagreement with us about Marxism. How does that give you the right to justify slander? Something is either true or it's false. It's
So what
the
would-
truth or it's a lie. And someone is lying about us. And you're trying to justify that lie because you disagree with us about theory.
No.
Now make the connection.
Come out. Calm down. Calm down. I want to have a civilized conversation with you.
Make the connection.
The connection is if a person listens to enough of your specific views on something and you're bastardizing Marxist Leninism, that is, people can assume. I don't know if that's his mentality. I'm not Hasan. People can assume though that you guys are control opposition. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that.
You know, okay, I'm gonna explain to you something that we can back up with empirical proof, with actual evidence. So this is proof. This is fact. This is fact. Our position was the norm for the established communist parties, the labor movement, and the socialist movement, period, until the 70s and 60s, with the rise of the so-called New Left. And when the New Left arose, the Soviet-backed traditional outlook was undermined with the backing of the CIA and the feds, who bankrolled Gloria Steinem, who bankrolled the university academics, and to this day, it's New York Times publishing the 1619 Project. So before you make talking about changing Marxism or whatever, we have proof that the CIA and the feds manufactured your position. Ours is orthodox Stalinism. Yours was created in the laboratories of the federal government. So don't sit here and try to make a connection between your claim that we're misinterpreting Marxism with, well, that could lead people to perceive that you're feds, when your entire outlook and misinterpretation of Marxism was created by the CIA.
Instead of laughing, look up what Lenin said about the American Revolution.
No. It's you don't even have. You just got to use common sense. You use common sense.
What Lenin said about it.
What? No. Think, Eddie. Just use. Don't even entertain. Use common sense. Would the feds want Marxism to be something that is part and resonates with the history of the American people and the majority? Or do they want Marxism to be alienated and cut off from the working class, the American working class? Which one is better for them? It's simple. Of course they want Marxism to be alienated from the masses.
I don't want to be angry and like yell at each other. I would love to respond.
Make the argument.
We have empirical evidence specifically when it comes to America. So like regardless, the scenario that you're drawing here about America and being the CIA would draw a line with us, specifically Marxists who are reading it from a just empirical standpoint.
What's the
And
empirical standpoint?
that America is a settler colonial nation.
Was Russia
Oh,
settler
Lenin said.
colonial?
It's true.
Was Russia, sir? Was Russia
We're
settler
talking about
colonial?
America right now. I know
I'm
you want to
talking. I'm
pivot.
talking
You're very
about Russia.
reactionary. You're very
Okay,
reactionary.
King Ratchet, you said Marxism, Leninism. Lenin was in Russia. Was Russia settler colonial with the expansion into
We're
Siberia?
talking
Yes or
about
no?
America. We're talking about
Was
America right now.
Russia
I'll get to
settler
that.
colonial
We can
when they
get to that.
expanded into Siberia? Do you know
Answer
about a
me one
city
question.
called Vladivostok?
You're
Where
very
did Vladivostok
reactionary.
come from?
You're very reactionary.
King Ratchet, answer my question directly.
Hence the reason
Was
why
Russia settler colonial?
you sound
Yay or
like a
nay?
reactionary. You sound like a reactionary. You don't want to have like real nuanced,
Okay.
theoretical conversations. You want
Was
to talk
Russia settler
the
colonial
last
before
conversation that
Lenin?
you and I had.
Was Russia settler colonial under
You're
the Romanov
reactionary, bro.
dynasty?
This is
Was
the reason
Russia
why people
settler
assume that you're a
colonial
Fed.
under the Romanov dynasty?
Oh my God.
Did you
Was
know
Russia
that?
settler colonial when they expanded into Siberia?
Okay, I
Yes
got
or
the
no?
next point after this.
No. I want him to answer this.
Yeah,
Were they
answer.
settler? Were the borders of Russia defined in a settler colonial way? Ukraine, it's called frontier. Who went into Ukraine? Was that settlement? Was that colonization? And eastward, both westward and eastward. Was there settler colonialism in Russia? Yes or no?
Sure. Let's say sure.
Okay. So, despite the fact that Russia was settler colonial, the Marxist-Leninist position in practice was preserving the integrity of Russian history rather than national nihilism, affirming Russian national identity and the continuity between the RSFSR, the Russian Soviet Republic, and the historical Russian state. And even under Stalin, they extended it from continuity of the historical Russian Empire to the Soviet Union itself in terms of being a successor state.
Okay. Can
So
I respond to you?
why is
Wait,
our
time out.
position
Can I respond?
false?
Can I
Yeah.
respond? Can I respond to you?
Yes.
I have to give pretext of this conversation because the last time that we had a conversation, we were specifically talking about America. And the argument that you were making.
What's different?
Time out. Can I respond, bro? Like you have a you're very triggered by this. So like the conversation that you and I were having was about America being specifically different from Israel's. And then
Yeah.
a ton of the examples that you were speaking about was about it was very reactionary and it was very much like Republican-esque in a way. And it was like it was specifically about like, oh, do you know the first person that passed away from when America was turned or turned against the
Wait,
British?
I gotta cut you off. This is really genius stuff. Please keep talking.
It happened. It happened. This is I'm surmising the
It
conversation.
sounded Republican.
Can you answer the question?
It was reactionary, and it sounded Republican.
It was. It was
Bro, this is
extremely
genius.
It was
This is
reactionary.
genius.
Okay.
Wow, this is like Aristotle.
When people
What's
listen,
going on?
when we're talking about America and specifically,
No,
you're
wait, stop, King. You
we're
haven't said that
talking-
enough times. Please tell me the country
I
we're
would love-
talking about again. You haven't told me
we're
enough times.
talking- Calm down,
All right,
bro.
please make your
Wait,
point.
what
King.
country? Wait, what country are we talking about?
The point that I'm making here is the fact that you went because we were having a civilized conversation and you were
'Cause you're wasting time.
you weren't having the best success in the conversation. You immediately start doing reactionary talking points. And
All right, King, what do you think about
specifically-
King, what are you trying to say? What's your response to my point about Russia right now?
I'm not talking about Russia though. I'm talking about America right
So
now.
what's the difference, though? Why is it allowed?
They're both
to do
settler
that in-
colonial. Why were they
Why
allowed
can
to have a
Lenin?
socialist
Why can
revolution
Lenin do to
preserve
Russia?
their history?
Why can't we?
And we're
Yeah,
not.
why can't we have the same attitude toward the USA, which Lenin regarded as far more historically progressive than Russia, by the way, that Lenin had toward Russia historically? Why can't we have those
All
relationships?
right, I'm making the next point after he answers this.
No, go ahead. Answer that. Make your point, and then
No, answer the question
He's
first
gonna
because my point's different.
He's trying to avoid this. Listen,
I'm
King.
really not.
Bro, listen. You're
Answer it
allowed
then.
to have no, hold on, Eddie. Bro, listen, King. You can have whatever position you want about America. I don't care. I don't really care what you think about America, right? But don't sit here and say we're distorting Marxism, Leninism, bro. You're out of your league. You don't know what you're talking about. All right?
I'm really not.
We
though.
are
You
that's
are.
our religion. We
Okay,
are
King.
Orthodox, Marxist, Leninist. We live, breathe, and beep for it, right?
King, do you
Can't say it
think
on
this is
TikTok.
do you think this is a reactionary statement? The
You're out of your
history
league.
of modern
You're saying we're going against Marxism.
Do you think this is an anti-Marxist and reactionary statement? The history of modern civilized America opened with one of those great, really liberating, really revolutionary wars, of which there have been so few compared to the vast number of wars of conquest, which, like the present imperialist war, were caused by squabbles among kings, landowners, or capitalists. Do you think that's
No,
a reactionary thing to say
no,
about America's history?
no. However, what you guys were what you guys were arguing, we got to be
That's
very clear here.
exactly what we were arguing.
No, it really wasn't. What you were arguing was America, specifically the Revolutionary War, had nothing to do with I don't know what words I can get away with. Racism. It had nothing to do with imperialism at all. What you
That
made
was
that
what
argument
Lenin
of.
just said in the quote I read to you. That was from Vladimir Lenin. We have his position exactly. He said it wasn't
Oh,
imperialist. He said it was
it was
Listen,
liberating.
bro, King, I'm gonna throw you a
listen,
bone. King, I'm gonna throw
what
you
I'm
a
gonna
bone.
do,
I
what I'm
can
gonna
tell.
do is after
King,
this
King.
conversation, I seen it last. I know you're wagging your finger. It feels good to be wrong. However, I saw the last
I
conversation
have
that we had.
Asperger's, and I have to do this to tolerate
Specifically,
your wait time wasting.
specifically, and I
Round and
will.
round it goes like Sonic. I got Asperger's, guys. Listen, let me tell you something.
You don't like to
I'm
listen,
gonna throw
bro.
you a bone. I'm
You're a
gonna throw you a bone.
reactionary. You're a
I'm gonna throw you a
reactionary,
bone.
but it's okay.
Okay, you
That's
can
why
you
people
can
call
call
you
me
a fag.
names. That's fine.
Just keep
Let me throw you a
saying
bone, King. You were not very satisfied with your performance in our last debate, so you
I
came
don't
up on
care,
here.
bro.
You came up in here trying to change the outcome or whatever.
I don't.
Listen, bro, take the L. You took
I'm
the L.
I'm historically right, so I don't care about performance. You care about performance because you're a debate bro, and debate bros usually care specifically
You were the
about
Bro,
one just
I
bragging
don't
about
know
how
if
you
I'm
won
about
the
debate,
debate.
bro. I made a very
You're a
simple
debate, bro.
bro.
You are.
Debate, bro, is like
You
when
are
you're
a
like,
debate bro.
oh, bro, a debate, bro, is a sophist who's like, oh, the logical proposition of the axioms. I'm being real. I'm talking to you like a normal person. I'm
You
asking you
went
why
to
it's different in
anecdotal
America versus
stuff
Russia.
and became a reactionary when I was pushing back on y'all.
No, you're a reactionary. Let me debate like you're debating. No, you're a reactionary. You're the reactionary.
I really don't.
What you're
I
saying
listen
is
to what
very
you're saying and
reactionary.
respond to what you're saying.
Well, it's true.
You,
Last time we
what
talked,
you're
you said you were explicitly defending racism.
what,
Last time we
what
talked,
you
you were being
What?
reactionary.
you're
That's how
being
you argue.
reactionary.
How does
You're
it
Okay.
being
feel?
reactionary, King.
How do I
King, you're
argue?
being
How do I argue?
reactionary.
Okay.
You're the king of reaction, bro. You're being
The problem
reactionary.
is the
Bro,
last
you sound
conversation that we
reactionary,
had.
bro.
The
The
last
problem is you sound
conversation that we
reactionary,
had.
bro.
The last
All right.
conversation that we had, I brought up.
Bro, this is
I
about
brought up
America, all right?
specifically. Yes,
This
I
is about
brought up
America, and you're being
specifically.
bro, you sound
I
reactionary.
understand. I understand. It makes you feel good.
No, when
It
you
makes you
sound
feel good.
reactionary.
You
You
feel
sound
warm
reactionary,
and
bro.
cuddly inside. It makes you feel good. The point that I brought up was the Declaration of Independence and the grievance of the 27th agreement
That's what I'm
of
saying, bro. You
grievance.
sound reactionary.
Grievance.
You
And
sound
when
reactionary,
I
bro.
brought that up, y'all started pivoting like, oh no, well let's talk about how, bro, it's on YouTube. I saw that y'all posted it on
Bro,
YouTube.
you sound reactionary, bro.
Anybody on here can go listen to the conversation that we had. It's on YouTube.
You're
It was about a
right,
week
they
ago.
can. So why are you here right now? What are you trying to say? Yeah, everyone can go see what was said. Everyone can go watch it. So what do you want
You're,
right now, bro?
the point that I'm making to you is originally, I don't have a beef with y'all. I want
Bro,
to
you're
make this
just
very
trying to
clear.
change the narrative. You're trying to define the narrative now when everyone can see for themselves and draw their own conclusion
The
based on the
point that I'm
debate.
making,
You're
the
coming
point,
in here now trying to retroactively change what happened or something.
no.
So what are you here for, bro? What you
The
trying to
point is,
say?
you're upset about why Hasan would call you
A fan,
a
yeah.
fan. Yes, and I
Right.
understand why a person would call you that when you're
Why?
being
Because we have the
reactionary.
same
Because we
position as
cooked
Lenin.
King. because we're
No,
Bro,
Feds because we made him
y'all
feel
didn't,
bad about losing a debate and then
yeah,
posting
yeah,
it on YouTube.
we're yeah, he understands why we would get
bro.
called
I
feds
didn't
because
lose a debate.
That's
bro,
not what
are
my
you
What?
about to
YouTube
say
comments
Lenin
say.
was like a fed? Are you about to say Lenin was a fed? What are you even on, bro?
What? What are y'all talking about?
You're saying you'd understand why Hassan would call us feds because we have the same view as Lenin.
No, I said
Okay,
specifically why,
okay,
because I want to have nuanced conversation. I don't want to argue. I like that's not what I want to do. I want
bro,
to look.
bro,
Every time I start speaking,
bro. You know what,
Enough
bro?
of that.
You got. I don't want to argue. I want to have a bro. You came in here calling us reaction. Listen, bro. What you want to do is save face after getting defeated in that debate, and you made it that, not us. It was chill. It was respectful. I had no problem with how it went down. Everyone can go see how that debate went down. It was really long, by the way. I was very patient with you. I was like, really, really, leveling, whatever, be in good faith, and you're not satisfied with the result. You probably saw comments agreeing with us instead of you. So you're coming in here talking about a whole lot of nothing, and now you're saying, "Oh, I understand why Hassan would say what he said." And then you said, "Well, because you're saying because America's a settler colony, and you don't want to destroy the country America in a socialist proletarian dictatorship." And it's like, well, they didn't destroy Russia, and Russia was also built on settler colonialism in the same way. So I'm just trying to understand why you're saying what you're saying. And I'm not talking about Russia, I'm talking about America. Why not? What's different about it? You gave me nothing, bro. Now, it's always going to go back to that. It's always going to go back to that. You're looping, you're avoiding that. We're going to bring on Nikki, and then we're going to bring on Abdullah. Yo, Nikki. All right. All right. Well, that was a much better guess than the previous. Abdullah, what's up?
Bonsoir à tout le monde.
Man, what the hell is this shit? Man, hell no, man. What the hell was that?
I didn't hear what he said.
I'm talking French.
Ooh. Instant ban.
I mean, I'm just like, what the hell, man? Yo, go ahead, Sludge.
Nikki wants to come back on.
All
Request,
right, Nikki,
Nikki.
request back up.
It disconnected you. It wasn't us.
I don't got a problem with France. I'm just saying, it's like, I don't understand that, bro. You gotta chill. I mean, I can't police, or you could be saying some bad stuff that's gonna get us in trouble. I don't know.
I'm just messing about France. The French Revolution was based to the. Shout out Robespierre. Should we let Squints on?
Yeah. Also, the Matrix wants to come on.
Take the red pill.
All right, Squints left. The Matrix is here. Yo, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right. Can you answer the $1 million question, or what's up?
Okay, go on.
Can you be a threat to the system and get glow ups from CNN?
Can you be threat to the system and what?
And get glow ups from CNN, meaning CNN will praise you and will portray you very positively.
Oh no, that's impossible.
Right. I'm glad we agree, bro. Hasan is not a threat to the system. I'm glad we agree. I'm glad we agree. You know, that's what it's all about.
Common ground.
That's what it's all about. Common sense. Because I think it's common sense, but apparently there's people who don't understand this. Yo, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, what's up? I think I'm gonna be real. I think you can be a threat to the system. I agree with what you guys are saying though, like on the main point. I feel like he's not far left enough. But a guy like me, I used to be a pretty big Hassan guy because I used to be like a Democrat. You know, I used to think that like Obama was a great guy. You know what I'm saying? He shifted me. He didn't radicalize me, but he definitely turned me towards more of a social democrat where I started saying like, yeah, people should have free healthcare and whatnot. But overall, I think he's a positive force for shifting people more left. But I think that they should be going into more depth on that after they've came them. Me, I don't really watch him anymore, but I think he has his purpose, and I think that we should recognize his purpose. Guys like Hakeem on YouTube are great. I think Midwestern Marks is good. But I think that he does have a purpose and he can be a threat to the system, but you actually have to let it play out over time. Over time, people will watch his content and turn more towards actual communism.
All right, let me ask you a question. What you're saying may have been true before 2020? I would give that some credit before 2020, maybe. But now I can assure you, sir, that all of the young men, at least, are all going over to the far right, and Hasan is converting not even one of them.
He's actually a big impetus
And
for
he's
the
one of
far
the
right.
he's facilitating it.
Yeah.
He's an enabler.
They
Are
all
you, are you
all the
saying
far
that? Are
right
you
has
saying
to
that
do-
like? Are you
The
saying that
far-
you think he's a
listen,
tool
the
to
far right
de-radicalize the working
points-
class?
He is hated. Hasan is hated now by the majority. So the far right point at Hasan and they go, look at this shill of the system. If you're really against the system, join us, the far right. So he's enabling the far right.
Hold up, run that shit back. I mean, bro, I don't know if can I say that. I don't know if I can say that. My bad. But
He's the only major person calling himself the left wing. The far right will point at him and be like, you don't want to go down the left wing path. Join us, the far right. We're the real threats to the system.
But what is he doing that would make someone want to go to the far right? I mean, if you look at him,
Because
I'm gonna
people,
base
I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah,
Because people can see how insincere he is, how inauthentic he is, how much how much he's how should I say politically correct.
Yeah.
How much he's like they rely so much on censorship to keep their monopoly. And look, bro, the purple website is like a bubble. It's literally like a bubble, right? And outside of that bubble, nobody agrees with the culture on that website. And like he is like seen as a gatekeeper, and all of the newest like Kai Cenat and like the WL people, even Aiden Ross, like all of that new generation really hate him a lot.
I want to go back to your point about being politically correct. I don't really think that that's. Again, we can go back to what the last guy was. I don't even need to go there. Talking about political correctness, we don't even need to go there because what does that actually have to do like with really anything? It's just
I'm just telling. Don't shoot the
voices
messenger.
his support for like LGBTQ rights.
No, listen.
And whatnot. So I feel like that's
Matt.
Yeah, what's up?
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what's happening. He is really turning off a lot of people and making the left wing look really bad.
I think
for the new generation of radicalized young people.
I think this is why a lot of people have a problem with ACP. And this is not what I'm not saying this. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree or agree with them, but it's the fact that I think, and there are certain revolutions that have obviously, and how much I'm trying to say this is that I agree with revolution either way. I think that that's a great, like, obviously it's a great thing to do. I think you're not going to get change through voting either way, and revolution is great. However you can do it is going to be great. But I think that when you talk about, how he's moving people away from the left because he's too politically correct or too,
he is
he's too inclusive is what you're saying, basically.
No,
it's
not that.
Let's not try to invite people into the movement who are going to.
No, dude, we have plenty of people with all sorts of sexualities in our party.
No, yeah, of course.
Listen,
yeah.
The issue is don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you how it is. He's seen as a gatekeeper who shuts down discourse. A lot of young people have questions. They're like, all right, he doesn't even debate, by the way. He won't even debate the right wing. So they're trying to like understand and figure out what perspective they should have. And Hasan is just saying, no, just censor and deplatform all of the reactionary people. So when your average young working class person sees that, they're like, hold on, that's not right. Now you could be in the know, and you could
He's
be
actually gone against that when he talked about Andrew Tate. When
you could be in an NGO on a college campus.
I feel like I want to talk about that. He has talked about that before, about how deplatforming right-wing people, and I remember this, deplatforming right-wing people is wrong, because then you have these people who think they're in the matrix, like, oh, what they're saying is so correct, they have to silence them. He's talked about that before, and how he is against deplatforming right-wing people because of that exact reason. How it makes it
But
seem
in
like
practice, he's not. But tell me why in practice every single political streamer on the Purple website is gone, including me, and he's still there.
And
that's just what I want to know.
We can go back to the point about CNN. Because there's a difference, and this goes back to the roots of what we were talking about. There's a difference between what you guys are doing and what he's doing. He's not a revolutionary. His purpose, and I think that both purposes play.
Bro, listen, it's not about
no, it is about his purpose.
Listen, bro, Matt.
It's about the objective role that he plays.
Matt, listen, just
hold up. You guys are revolutionaries, all right?
No, bro. You got to listen right now. We got to save time, all right?
Yeah.
Matt, I don't know who you are.
Time saver.
I don't know if you have brothers or cousins or you live in the real world, but it's not. You can portray yourself as far left or as extreme as you want to be. But if you have no way of communicating your position to normal people without having a politically correct filter that's fake and inauthentic and insincere, you will make no progress. Okay?
The biggest gift, one more thing to add to that point. The biggest gift that was given to the Trump campaign in 2016 was when Hillary Clinton called his supporters a basket of deplorables. What does Hasan Piker call Trump voters? He calls them hogs. You don't think that helps the right wing?
I'm just trying to tell you.
That's a good point, but we don't need to be hung up on
I'm saying
political
Hasan's
correctness.
audience, and you should do some self-criticism too. I'm not doing this to
No,
come
I'm not.
at you.
I don't watch Hasan anymore. I've already said that.
I'm just telling you, bro. The leftists in this country live in a bubble, and that
100%.
you don't understand the real world and how real people think who are outside of the college campuses and the NGOs and the activist circles.
Wait,
it's hard.
You're telling me
It's
that I don't.
rough
You're
out
telling me
there,
that I
bro.
don't understand
It's
that, or
rough
they don't
out there.
understand that.
The leftists, or leftists in
It's rough
general.
out there, bro.
Maybe you're
Leftists
part
in
of
the
that
real
group.
world,
I don't know.
it's rough out there,
Well,
bro. Hasan is in
I-
his purple castle. Listen, Hasan's in his purple castle, and we're out here in the gutter, in the street, fighting literal Yahtzees by ourselves. And no one is even giving us backup or helping us because they're living in their oblivious purple castle in the clouds.
Are you telling them? Are you basically explaining that more workers have to organize and more Hasan fans have to organize, right? I mean, I do organize.
They have to go out and fight
and organize
the far right that's making inroads with the masses, and they're not doing that. They're just saying we hate the masses. The masses are all settlers. We can't stand the masses. They're hogs. We're better than them.
I also think that Hasan said, and I'll say it again. I'm not a Hasan fan, but I'm not a Hasan hater. I think I'm neutral on him because I think he has a good purpose. But Hasan said before that, like, you know, everyone deserves a second chance, and we shouldn't be pushing out these people because a lot of right wing people they can't make a switch back to, you know, not like leftism, but I guess like the Democratic type of side.
Right. I'm not saying show mercy on the right. I'm saying don't run away from them. That's what he does.
He won't debate right wing people.
Right. He won't engage with it. He won't debate them. He won't confront it.
What does the debate actually solve instead of like an actual conversation?
Because I'll tell you why he doesn't confront them, because he thinks, oh, anyone who would ever follow that person is a lost cause anyway. Well, bro, that's starting to be the majority.
Well, debating them doesn't cause a difference. The only thing that causes a difference
yes, it does. You can't give up the fight for the masses.
Conversation like what we're doing right now is going to cause a difference. If someone's injured,
you can't. You have to crush the far right to win the masses, or they won't respect you. If you're running away from them, how are you going to win the masses? How are you going to be respected? You can't just say the masses are a lost cause. What do you mean they're a lost cause? Who are you in your $3 million mansion calling them hogs and a lost cause and saying this country is cooked? You have to fight for the people. You have to fight for this country.
And
And
you're
we're
right. No, you're
doing
right about
that,
that. I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna.
and we're being called far right just because we have the courage to be in the battlefield.
To not cede all these points to the reactionaries or cede all these people to the
Right.
reactionaries, which is one of the things Lenin explicitly calls against.
Listen,
If you
I'm just
don't
gonna be
engage, you're
real.
just giving
I'm gonna be
it to the
real.
reactionaries.
All right, the Democrat left from before 2020 that never evolved past 2020. Y'all need to take the L. You were wrong about a lot of things. All right, I'm not going to get into details. I'm going to mention one thing, Big Pharma. Y'all were wrong about that. You were wrong about so many things that you say, oh, this is a far right talking point. You were wrong about these things, and you ceded it to the far right. And that was a big, big mistake.
That's another thing, Hasan. On the other day on his show, he said the media got COVID 100% right by getting behind Big Pharma. That is such a gift to the right when he says things
Oh,
like
man, he did so much damage doing that.
that. That's not the
So much
communist
damage.
position. It's not. It's a neoliberal position, and he's taking that position while calling himself a socialist. And it allows, right wingers to point at people like us and say we have those same neoliberal positions when we don't.
Well, I don't know. Okay, hold up. I don't know why you guys are trying to infight with him when they do the same thing to regular Democrats like Kamala Harris, like Trump's campaign, Trump's comrade.
Feds.
Oh no, I mean yeah, no, I mean that's I'm not gonna. I don't need to go into that. What the
No, that's another thing. That's another thing I have a problem with, framing wise. How is Trump to the right of the Democrats? Exactly.
I voted for Claudia de la Cruz. I didn't vote for either of them because I think they're
right. But I'm just saying, even Hasan accepts the framing.
And I don't agree
Trump
with
is the far right. Kamala's not the far right. Why isn't Kamala far right at this point?
I don't agree with Hasan's actual idea on change. He believes that let's vote in Bernie Sanders to make change. I don't agree with that either. I think Bernie Sanders isn't that great of a person at all either. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things he says, but I do think he has a purpose in like what he did for me. I agree.
He's got a purpose. Look, bro, I hate saying it, but the ugly truth is that you have college campuses and a bunch of people in corporate careers and in NGOs and in corporate workspaces and all of these sanitized, environments that are just totally privileged bubbles. And that's Hasan's viewers. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is rapidly accelerating to the far, far, far right, the youth especially, and none of them are going over to Hasan, and he even knows it. He's admitted it. So he has his bubble that he's kept since 2020, and the rest of the country's in flames. And one of the reasons there's no left wing is because the far right people are pointing to Hasan saying, look at him, he's part of the system. And they're right, he is part of the system. So all of the people angry at the system and the status quo, they're not going to the left, they're going to the far right. And why should that be? It's the left wing that should be against the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you the truth.
No, you're right. No, I mean, I'm not denying that fact that you just said. I'm not you're not wrong about that. You're just preaching to the choir here. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. It's rough out there. It's rough out there. And Hasan is he's not helping. He's really not helping. Bro, we're in the trenches out there. You guys don't know how much of it is a battle for us, being able to make this position palpable to the real world is really hard. And it's like we're fighting the far right, and then we have Hasan coming and attacking us. It's crazy. It's almost like he's a far right collaborator.
It is. Yeah, I would say to Matt, thanks for coming on and think a little bit about what we said. Reflect on the role that Hasan plays, and keep in mind that, he could be serving a different purpose than just a pipeline to people like us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of want to disagree with you guys because I don't really see this point in Hasan being a bigger threat in terms of not going on encouraging more debates with the right. When, if anything, the most annoying factor of people who just understand that what left wing is, that obvious difference between liberalism and neoliberalism versus actual like leftism. Like I don't really get the point in just kind of
Bro, because the left wing is supposed to go against the system, and the far right is pretending to go against the system, and they're lapping the so-called left in terms of winning the working class and the youth. And that's
I
the
just don't
truth.
feel like there's no point in engaging in that. Like another good example, like of somebody who does that but doesn't bring anything good out of it. Like look at Destiny. Every time,
Bro, Destiny's not on the left.
He's a neoliberal.
Left wing.
I
Destiny
know,
is a right wing
I know, and I
liberal.
hate that. Like people like him are trying to make him like he's in the left, like he's a part of this.
No,
shit.
he's not. Even he doesn't say that. He is a right liberal. He's a right wing liberal.
Dude, he was literally complaining because he couldn't go to the DNC.
But the Democrats aren't leftist at all. There's nothing left wing about them.
Yeah, I get
What's
that, but I just
left-wing?
don't understand this whole point and just like kind of putting him into this like category where it's like he's not for us when it's like, dude, he's like not even like close to that whole thing. And it's just like that constant feeding into
Listen,
the
bro,
right wing.
Hasan Piker is not only a part of the system, he is actually doing damage to the left wing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go into
like
detail?
AOC?
He's doing damage to the left wing because if he has a monopoly on what the left wing is, and we're here trying to be an alternative to him, and he's attacking us, fed jacketing us. So he's preventing anyone from being left wing that's not him. And if he's the only face of the left wing, everyone angry at the system is going to go to the far right. Because why is the left wing part of the system? That's what they're going to ask. They're going to say the left wing is the system. All of the censorship, all of the whatever, all of big pharma, the corporations, and that Hasan is the face of that, right? So they're going to the far right because he's imposing himself as a monopoly on the left in this country. And that's a disaster.
It's the
And he
AOC
knows
effect.
it. He admitted it. He even said in his CNN glow up that all of the young men are going to the far. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, because I don't
Since
think there's no point in
2020, he
engaging,
hasn't.
like in a
he
lot of
built-
these like right wing like groups because all they get out of it is just like trying to get their clout up just by doing these debates. It's like they're just going to constantly pull this. No, I'm right and you're
Yeah,
wrong.
I know, but it's a constant battle you have to wage. That's what politics is.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's going to get us nowhere if we continue to do it though.
No, it's going to get you everywhere. That's what politics is. You have to constantly be in the thick of the whatever the consciousness of the masses is at. You have to be in the thick of engaging with that. And he
But that
he
doesn't
stopped
matter to
doing
a
that.
lot of these right wing
He
people
stopped
because
doing
clout
that
is just
after.
like some of their biggest like issue. Whether it's not
But
they can
he's-
say the most craziest shit online for
They're
like likes and
lapping
clicks
him.
and follows.
They're lapping him in terms of total clout compared. Bro, the purple website is a bubble. I'm trying to tell you that it's a huge bubble.
You mean
if I go to
Yeah,
the
don't
gym,
say it. They'll suppress us.
if I go to the
What?
gym,
Mm-hmm.
if I go to the gym, if I go anywhere outside and I ask a random person what their opinion is, they're far right, bro. It's
yeah, I can
crazy.
definitely see that.
It's crazy, you know? So there needs to be a question of, wait, isn't the left wing supposed to be against the system? Well, why is the biggest so-called face of the left part of the system?
Yeah, but I don't see him as like the biggest face of the left, though. If anything, like
Who's the
seeing
bigger
him like
face?
getting kicked out of the DNC because of his comments about them like getting like being funded by
But
Israel.
Who's the biggest
says
face
a
of the
lot.
left? But who is the biggest face of the left then?
I don't think there's any point of like saying who's like the number one. I feel like there's kind of like many who just kind of pick who they choose want to pick out. Like it's just up to people on who they decide on what.
I would say he's the biggest. He's the number one on the purple website.
He's the biggest, quote unquote, socialist influencer in America.
What? Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you guys, like, what exactly about him being politically correct is like too wrong for him? Apparently, like it's
Again, don't shoot them. I'm not the one deciding there's anything wrong with it. I'm telling you that the average person sees someone being inauthentic and not sincere about what they actually believe, but what they know is what they should say because it's the moral thing or the institutionally approved thing. They don't like that. It's ingenuine, it's insincere, and they see it as fake. And they see past it. They can smell it from a mile away.
All
And
because like he kind of speaks out on like issues on like trans rights or anything like that.
look, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say that you could, even if you had those views, you could have any view you want, but if it's not coming from the heart, something that you can communicate genuinely, like why should a random person believe this? Someone who's not incentivized by greed and money and social validation to have these like positions, it's gonna be a really bad look, and that's what it is as far as he's concerned. Like, I'm not going to necessarily say that his socially liberal positions are the reason necessarily. For example, George Carlin had a lot of socially liberal positions,
Great
but the
example.
way he presented them through like comedy or whatever seemed to actually like resonate with people, and it wasn't turning them off. Even if people didn't agree with it, it was like nobody hated him or couldn't stand him or called him fake for it.
Yeah.
But that's not who Hasan is. He's not a George Carlin. He's a completely fake, inauthentic actor.
Yeah, I don't see the fakeness at this point if even the Democrats even should understand that he's kind of a threat to them.
Bro,
Like I never really understood this.
Hasan is the one pushing back against the claim that he got kicked out of the DNC.
What, like a couple of months ago, you mean?
Yeah, he's saying he didn't get kicked out.
When did he say that?
I've heard him say it, pretty sure.
Do you know what exact like quote he said?
I remember like Destiny tried to say, "Oh yeah, he got kicked out of the DNC," and then he was like, "No, I didn't." Something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about that, but I don't know. I just feel like for any kind of like constant media that I feel like people have been wanting to look for in order to get more into leftism and socialism and communism, I feel like it's just been like a big battleground that has always been. And I feel like I've seen a big occurrence, like a resurgence in more people like fighting against like the red pill movement, which has obviously been a pipeline to like the alt-right stuff. And I've seen more and more creators and like on whether it be YouTube or other like streaming platforms or TikTok constantly speak about it. Like I understand, like I've seen more of like our generation speak out against it. Maybe not in terms
Hold
of
on, I'll issue a
white
correction.
people, but
He wasn't kicked out for having any political position, but he was prohibited from streaming. So they basically said you can't be here if you're going to be streaming.
And they had invited him there to join a
They had invited
Creators
him
for
there.
Kamala.
So they had invited him there in the first place, but he wasn't allowed to live stream the whole thing.
To be part
So
of
that's-
Creators for Kamala
yeah.
was the
Right,
name of the
right.
group they
So
invited
had
him
he
to.
turned his live stream off, he would never have gotten removed. To be clear about what happened.
I mean, that shows you exactly what he does for the Democrats. He,
Right.
takes radical energy and filters it right to the DNC, just like AOC. That's why I keep saying it's the AOC effect.
yeah, I don't really see that connection between him if he can constantly bash them as like many times as he can.
Then why did they invite him to the DNC to be one of the creators for Kamala? They clearly see him as useful.
I feel like that was a choice they decided to make, but I don't think they really went
Bro,
into
I'm
deep
just
aspect
telling
on
you,
how
they
like,
give him
super
blow
left it
ups
is.
on CNN. Mainstream media does nothing but gas this guy up. I'm telling you, he's part of the system.
Bro, they've always,
Dude, we're all part of
always,
this, like, this
always
system.
Not
The
listen,
sys-
bro. It's easy to say we're all part of the system, but when you're like us, who are deplatformed constantly, subject to reputation destruction, harassed by feds, literally
firing
demonetized all the time,
Neil
and
campaign.
like just so many things done against us constantly. Yeah, bro, there's a difference between like being part of the system in the sense of buying an iPhone and being part of the system in the sense of like no systemic resistance or pushback to anything you're doing when you're a high profile, self-proclaimed left-wing streamer.
And let me tell you, Tecmo, the system, and when I say the system, I mean the ruling class, has always, always, always needed people like Hasan and AOC who posture as being left-wing, but their ultimate purpose, even though they don't say it, and this is what makes them so effective at what they do, their ultimate purpose is to bring people back to the Democratic Party. to say we need to work within the Democratic Party and go out to the elections for the Democratic Party. There have always been these kind of people, and no matter how much revolutionary rhetoric they give, their final solution is always we need to work through the Democratic Party.
I
They've always needed these
through
people.
AOC because I have had like 50-50 like views
So
on
she
her.
voted for Iron Dome. What
Hasan,
else can you say?
Yeah, but I
He
think
voted
another
to fund
issue
the
is,
Iron
like,
Dome.
I've never really seen him as like very big of like part for the Democrats is like his like amount in support for the Palestinian movement, and just the fact that like
I don't really
Democrats
see
that have
how
like
it's
Richie Torres like have constantly like spammed like
being
the
better
circle
than
outside
Richie
the
Torres doesn't make you a revolutionary. I'm sorry.
look.
I mean, if you're
I'm
getting
glad.
targeted by Democrats who are funded by APEC, it's like that's got to mean for something. Like that
I
doesn't mean you're
don't.
part
I
of
don't think he's
Part of the
being
game.
targeted. I think that every single person that's quote unquote targeted him was themselves like grasping at straws, like struggling to do so, rather than an actual united systemic attack. Listen, when somebody is attacked by the system, you can tell. You can actually tell. Like it's so clear because everyone is coming after them, constantly, nonstop. Like you could tell something is a coordinated attack, all right? And he has now never gone through that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I do agree on. Like, I would like to see him like more interact more, like a stronger like leftist, like people like your guys, yourselves, and a few other people I can think of. But then again, there's that always just thing of like, I do notice that he does hate that little like debate stuff that constantly goes back. Like, he doesn't want to do that.
Bro, do you think I like debates? I
Debates
literally
suck.
don't. I
hate debates.
literally do not like debating.
Hate debates.
Yeah, there's just always that issue with me where it's like for some people it's like, is it the intentions for it really to try to get a message out about for like actual leftism, or is that
It's
there's
about
some people who it's like really
No,
just
I'll
getting
tell
out?
you exactly why you have to debate. Debating is about who is willing to stand on a position and say it with their chest, even while they're getting pushback. And
Like,
how
I
do they
agree.
respond? And how do
Yeah,
they
I agree.
respond
Like
to that?
debate, like leftists debating other
bro,
leftists,
it's-
but just debating the right wingers and all right people. Like I don't see it at this point. Like I feel like it's so repetitive. Like
Debates
looking back
are
and trying to
about-
go to like
No,
that
no, no.
2015,
You-
2016 era where you had guys like Shapiro,
Yes, you
Jimmy
can't
Crowder.
give
It's like
that.
people
Yeah,
are
they
done with
have
that
been
stuff.
lapping, bro. They've been winning because, listen, debates are everything because it's about dominance. It's about who wins and who gets destroyed, all right? And if you stop doing that, the other side is going to grow and win.
Yeah, I don't really see it like that because I've seen more.
But that's
and more,
what's happening.
And why do
That's
the right
what's
wingers have
happening.
so many followers?
being more hypocritical
Bro,
in their talking.
Listen.
Like everybody
kid-
knows that Ben Shapiro is the speak fast and like repeat like.
And he
other
built
people's
a
talking
giant
points.
audience because all the
Midwest.
left tried to do was censor him instead of engaging with the arguments and
Midwest.
crushing
You know that
him.
guy? You know that guy? Can we say his name? Rick Fuentes.
Rick Fuentes.
Rick
Whoa.
Fuentes.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you,
guy?
Juice Marf.
Yeah,
Listen,
I hate that dude.
that guy will literally not debate me. He's running from
Me either.
debating. All right.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how
no,
much
you guys shouldn't
monsters
debate him. You shouldn't
That's-
debate him though.
We would crush him. He's scared of it because he
He
knows
won't
what would
debate
happen.
us.
He's
That's how
he's
much
a
he
gross
becomes-
groiper. Like what's the point in feeding into that though? I don't understand.
We're not
Because
feeding
we
into
would
it. We're
crush
destroying
him.
him.
We'd crush him. That's why he won't debate us.
His friend Jake Shields is trying to get him to do one with me, and he won't do it because he knows the effect it would have. It would show his audience his ideological
war is a
incoherence.
game
Yeah, I agree with that. And
dominance.
like even a lot of
Whoa.
the other people, like I've noticed, like they're too like cowardly to actually do it. Like for years, always seeing Ben Shapiro constantly going around these like college students, but like I never seen him do a debate with Norman Finkelstein, Noam
Yeah,
Chomsky,
but you need
Richard
if
Wolff,
you're gonna be the young
because they kind of prove that
radical-
point that they're hypocritical.
Bro,
so there's really no point in doing that debate.
Yes,
it's like the more they
it's
run
like saying there's
That's
no
why they
point
won't
in
do it.
fighting a war. Bro, that's like saying there's no point in fighting a war. Of course there's a point. It's everything. It decides everything.
Yeah, I don't know because I just really see the more and more of these big like right wingers, and then the Vic Fuentes types, like just really, it really becomes that line between who are we actually going to like learn something from this, like whether like talking to one
No,
another or actually just getting something out for clout.
you're going to demonstrate the superiority of a given position to people who are neutral. Remember,
Okay.
everyone starts out neutral. You need to understand that. So if someone has a stronger position, obviously they're going to go with the strong. And you look like you have a stronger position when you're chasing after everybody and debating everyone. And it looks like your position is weak when you're never willing to put it on the line in any way.
Yeah, but it's just like so tiresome seeing like all this content.
I agree it's tiresome. Politics is tiresome. War is tiresome. But there's no rest in this. If you're claiming to be left wing, you can't rest and say you're tired. You got to keep fighting.
I had another question about like for you guys, like when you guys were growing up, what type of like content, like whether it was music or any sort of media that really got you into your political beliefs?
I watched The Amazing Atheist. T.J. Kirk was probably one of the first people I got into.
Oh wow. And what about you?
I don't know. I just like I didn't like the system, and I liked the militancy of like Marxists, and to me Marxists at that this was like 2007 or something. So like when I heard about Marxism, it was like Che Guevara, and it was guerrillas, and it was like the Bolsheviks and the Red Army, and I was like, that's like the revolutionaries fighting the system. It's like that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I never really understood on how deeply biased, like in any kind of media you can find whenever, like take for example Call of Duty, like straight up
Hold on.
propaganda.
This guy named Joe Mama goes, "Oh, so you were just edgy?" Yeah, I was 11. I was like 11 or 12. So yeah, a little bit.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I was saying like growing up, I never really understood the big like right wing bias that like I've seen in so much media, whether it come to like video games or movies. Like I know like the good example like Call of Duty obviously being like a lot of Western imperialism like bias, like the Black Ops like games, like the amount of like insane like anti-communist story like writing in terms of those games, like whether it became to like the anti-MPLA mission or that that really embarrassing like attempt at Fidel Castro like in the Black Ops 1 games, or even something like American Sniper. Never understood how the hype for that movie, and just finding out that Chris Kyle was.
I'm going to tell you the actual story. The story began when I was like 5, when I was traumatized by a movie called Blood Diamond. And,
oh yeah, with Leo, yeah.
And I was like, these bad guys were really bad in the movie, and they were like the revolutionaries, and I just became fast. Like, what is a revolutionary? What's a revolution?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's when they're rising against the government. Like I remember learning about this in 5th grade. I was like, oh, that's really bad. But then as I kind of grew up a little, I was like, actually, the government's bad, and being a revolutionary is good.
Yeah, that movie was wild.
So, like, that was the pipeline that started it, was, like, just being fascinated by the idea that governments can be overthrown and change.
For me, it was actually Act 10 in Wisconsin. The Koch brothers governor, Scott Walker, crushed the teachers' unions, and my dad was a teacher, and there were all these protests, and we went and protested around the Capitol. And the more I learned about the government, I realized it was corrupt, and I was like, hey, eventually you get to the point where you realize you need a revolutionary change. But it was being with those people marching around the Capitol, like, we can actually fight back against this shit. And seeing the depravity of Walker and how corrupt he was and how smug he was about it, and how he shit on working class people like my dad, it just made me want to do anything to get these people out of power and unite the kind of people who were marching around the Capitol against him.
But you know what's screwed up is that, you know what Hasan's entry into so-called left politics was?
What?
His uncle being a millionaire who owned a media company.
Oh yeah, Cenk, yeah. Yeah, if anything, I've disliked the Young Turks less and less now ever since.
When I was 11, I was reading about Che Guevara. When Hasan was 11, he was fighting diabetes.
Okay.
I'm just saying, for him to call people fighting really hard right now, feds, it's just kind of crazy that this guy is like literally just learning about Marxism and he's making these claims that he's making.
And we have genuine stories that where we came from the ground up, from the working class, and dedicated our lives to fighting this system. And he just shows up at Cambridge, the university that's closer connected to the British MI6 and British intelligence than any other, and says that we're the feds. I mean, how sketchy is that? Thank you, Juice Morph, by the way. Juice Morph has given me more gifts than I've ever gotten.
But what is this orb right here? Like, what is this thing?
I think gifts or likes? I don't know. Does anyone know?
I have no idea.
Is this money? Is this $300? Wow. Thank you for the 300, guys.
It says points.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that I feel like the biggest thing for just more I guess younger generation is to just to be more for that open access media for them to understand the gateways to big leftism and socialism. And I want to say I appreciate you Midwest Marks for what you've been doing. So I want to give you respect to you for on that.
Thank you, man. Tell Hasan to have me on and stop calling me a fed if you're in the chat.
Yeah, I'll try to do something about that. Yeah, I'll try to. I don't know. I feel like that's one thing. The one thing I feel like anything like that us a big left content creators that we just really need to understand that I don't know that unity that I feel like we definitely need at this point because definitely needed come 2025. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for your content and I just appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tecmo. What's this guy, Ayahuasca? Go ahead, bro.
Juice Morph is Ingalls, officially. Holy shit, so much. Yo, Ayahuasca.
Bro, wake up. All right, I'm done with this. All right, Eddie, I don't know. Are you ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I gotta go to sleep soon. Even though I'm making dude, these galaxies are so expensive.
How much?
I've never made this much from alive.
Wow. How much?
I don't know what it's gonna be.
Damn.
This is a real life Ingalls we met here.
Wow.
Thank you, Juice Morph. I gotta give Juice Morph a follow.
Galaxies. It's 1,000 points. Let me see how much points are. So 8. Wait, what? Okay, 70 coins is $1. Oh my God, what's going on? And then a galaxy is 1,000 coins. So 1,000 divided by, so it's about over $10.
Oh,
right?
Juice Morph has 560,000 followers.
Bro, get this shit out of here, bro. I don't care how much money you're spending, bro. Get that shit out of here, bro.
I do. Keep sending them this way, Juice Morph. You're the man, bro.
Give Eddie those things. I don't even know how to turn that off. I don't. Yeah.
All right, thanks. We can wrap it up.
So you part of the gifts is you can buy filters. Why don't you guys ever give me a cool filter? It's always that y'all are always giving me dumb shit. I don't even care about money, guys. Anyway.
I do. You can just send all of it to me. I'll look as ridiculous as possible. Thank you, Juice Bar, for real. I'm gonna DM you. Appreciate that. All right, we ready to wrap?
I'm ready to wrap up.
All right. This will be on YouTube at Midwestern Marks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tell Hasan to quit being a coward and have us on. All right, peace, everybody.
All right, see y'all later. Bye-bye.